Wendy Bell Radio is live, and happy hump day to everyone.
I don't do hump day stuff. I don't make those noises.
Well, we do,
Especially,
so you
I'm
do.
crabby because my neck hurts. I got a neck pain, so this is
From
going to be a
what?
bad show. I'm just kidding. It'll be fine. I'll get over it. I'll massage. I've got a massager by my desk that I just use. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were talking about hump day or something like that.
No, Wendy always asks me what day it is, so I say it's hump day.
All right, all right. That's
And I
good.
didn't play
What day is it?
I typically play the
What
hump
day
day
is it?
commercial.
What day is it?
Yeah.
Go on.
Right. hump day.
Oh, for those who don't know, I am not Wendy Bell. Just in case there was
Neither am I.
any confusion. I thought you were.
No.
Not even on Wednesdays?
But I want everybody to know that Wendy actually helped with the show today.
Yeah.
Because I was having trouble with the title and the fascist AI system. And I was texting back and forth, and I was like, here's what we're looking for. Here's the title. I need to change the title, and I need to talk about X, Y, and Z. She did the title and the rundown, the write-up. So.
Could you hear that on the radio? Did that make it all the way to?
What?
I just popped my neck, and it sounded like I'm a self-chiropractor.
Nope.
Beautiful. Do the pledge today. Do the pledge today. All right.
I already reminded them,
Locked
everyone.
in. It's locked in. I am pledged.
You know what I'm locked in on? Gold and silver.
Gold and silver.
Now's the time to diversify. It's always time to diversify. Keep some cash, keep some gold, keep some precious metals. You can always go to wendylovesgold.com, 855-927-5557, 855-927-5557. It's always good to have precious metals. It seems when everything else fails, gold and silver doesn't. I know a couple years ago, I got a silver bar for my birthday. And when I got it, it was worth $333. Last I checked, it was over double that. So gold and silver, definitely smart to have. 855-927-5557, wendylovesgold.com. Find out. They have a coin now that has a picture of her. It's an autographed if you're a new customer, and you're getting in their protection plan where you never lose money. We'll buy it back for what you paid for it. Get it in your IRA. You can talk to them about it. They'll help you out. They have that number I give you, 855-927-5557, is specifically for Wendy Bell listeners. So you can give that a call or go to wendylovesgold.com. Find out how you can make your money work for you instead of you working for your money.
I don't like to work for my money. Hey, does the likeness of her, does it look like Ron Howard?
What?
The likeness of her on the coin?
No. She's not on a coin. So we're working with Texas Pool. We have challenge coins that we have made, and we want to make a silver. We want Texas Bullion to make a silver one, and have the proceeds, at least our proceeds. We can't ask another business to do it, but have it go to some veterans charity or something like that. But we're working on it.
Cool. As long as it doesn't look like Ron Howard.
No. It'll probably I would assume it would have the logo on it.
I was trying to see if anybody in the
I
chat
should send you a
knew
Brock.
what I was talking about.
I should send you a mug of me. Something you could use every single day.
I would totally use it every day. And you don't know what I would use it for.
Right. That's what my fear would be.
Well, it appears that nobody in the chat is aware of what I was referring to when I say, does it look like Ron Howard? Just look up Barack Obama statue in front of his library
Monstrosity.
thing. Yeah, and you can look it up as Barack Obama, Ron Howard, and it'll probably pop up, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's pretty crazy.
All right, here we go.
Five, four, three, two, one. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
You know, you can be in the middle of a hurricane.
I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress.
People can yell at you.
So I am going to tell you that we have to Trump.
North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things.
We're living in a different world. 70% of Americans say Trump is doing what he promised to do.
And in this business, right is still right. Even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program. Filling in for Wendy Bell from Patriot TV, J.D. Rucker.
I am not Wendy Bell, but I am so grateful to be filling in for the brilliant and extraordinarily talented and lovely and supremely patriotic Wendy Bell all this week, Monday through Friday. It is a dream come true. And the funny part is, you know, we're on hump day, of course, and it feels as if I'm just getting started. I was telling Brock, he's saying, hey, you know, there's something coming up. Do you think you got, yes, sign me up. Like, does Wendy need to take a year off? Because I'll do it. Because the WBR Army is that amazing. Happy hump day, everybody. And I'm going to remember, because I forgot it the first 2 days, I'm going to remember to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I even put it on my screen. I've got a flag. I'm a purist. I don't say the pledge without actually looking at the flag. So I've got the flag in front of me. Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It is a beautiful afternoon if you are on the East Coast, depending on where you are. It is a pretty decent morning out here on the West Coast, and if you're anywhere in between, then you do your thing that you do if you're not on the coasts. I used to live away from the coast. I've lived on the East Coast before. I've lived on the West Coast. You know, my life is divided into sections, and my favorite section was actually in the middle. I love California. I loved New York when I lived there, but living in the middle of the country, that's where everything happens, where I met my wife. That's where I had most of my kids. It was fantastic. But out here, we're having what appears to be, at least temporarily, a pretty decent Wednesday following the midterm elections, for those who aren't aware. And I've got to keep it up on the screen at all times, because this is California, which means it can change at any given moment. But as of the last time I checked, Steve Hilton was still doing extraordinarily well, still in the lead for the governor's race. And Spencer Pratt was still doing extremely well, still second place for the LA mayor's race. Now, we still have a whole long ways to go. This is, again, California. And what does that mean? That means that the election goes on for however long it takes. Could be up to 29 days. Now, for those of you in the saner parts of America, you might be like, well, what the heck do they have to do in 29 days? Let me break it down for you just real quick. Okay. So we have ubiquitous mail-in balloting. In other words, everybody gets a mail-in ballot. Doesn't matter. You could be out of state. You could be an illegal. You could be dead. You're going to get a ballot. I've seen places where it's like, holy crap, a rental property that got like 74 ballots or something like that mailed to them. And there's nothing we can do, at least as of now. We're working on it. We're trying to fix it. With those mail-in ballots, they can be mailed up to Election Day. So in other words, you can go drop it in the mail, and as long as it's postmarked for yesterday, and as long as it's received by the 9th, 1 week, you got 1 week for it to be received. So we're not even going to have technically all of the ballots received for another week. Then they sort of start counting more of those. But the counting process is, kind of stupid. I mean, Ron DeSantis is ripping on it. A lot of Democrats are ripping on it. Anybody who's looking at this, paying attention at all, they look at how California, how we handle elections, and they're like, holy crap, that is the dumbest thing ever. And you're all wrong if you think that. It's not dumb. It's not. It's brilliant if your goal is to perpetuate permanent Democrat rule no matter what. The election system here in California is perfectly designed, so that they can rig the elections. Every election. Any election they want to rig, unless it's a blowout, they have a harder time with blowouts, but unless it's a blowout, they can't do it. Let me walk you through from the beginning. So it starts off with the mail-in ballots, and guess what? They start counting the mail-in ballots 29 days before the election. Huh? That's pretty crazy, right? So they actually have, and technically speaking, nobody's supposed to know, we can't actually look at the ballots or look at the counts. We're just getting the information in there, and no actual human can ever look at it. And it's not like there's any corruption or anything out here in California. That'd be crazy, right? But yeah, so they do that. They start counting, and that gives them the opportunity, allegedly, we'll go ahead and throw that out there, that allegedly gives them the opportunity to be able to see, okay, how are we doing? How's it looking? Gavin Newsom takes a little peek. Okay. Okay. Karen Bass. I don't know. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to get her over 50%. Gosh, we might have trouble getting her over 40%. Holy crap. She might not break 30%. Okay. We're going to have to do something there, but let's wait on that one. And they open it up. They say, oh, okay. So yeah. Okay. We're safe there. Doesn't look like Chad Bianco is going to get even close. So we just got to worry about Steve Hilton. All right, we got this. We got this covered. So they can check all that for the first 29 days before Election Day. Then after Election Day, this is when the mythical, magical unicorn mail-in ballots start coming in. There's a scene in it always pops up anytime I think of the way that California handles its elections. I think of this scene in the movie The Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. And it's where like the old people with guns, they're cannibals, and like Denzel Washington and the girl he's with, they're trying to leave, because it's like, these guys are cannibals. Let's get out of here. And she comes out with like a tray of meat. She's like, oh my gosh, look, I found some meat. I think that every time I'm thinking somebody, it's like, oh wow, it looks like a Republican might actually win. And somebody comes out of the kitchen. Oh my gosh, look, I found a box of ballots. Just magically appeared. Unicorn ballots. Magic legs brought in those magic ballots. And then all of a sudden you have permanent, eternal, never-ending Democrat rule. So there's 3 ways to fix it. Fix it number 1 would be to just do what is almost impossible, which is to pull the Trump 2024 routine of too big to fail, right? To a win that's so big that they can't stick their neck out far enough to cheat enough to be able to steal it. Again, I'm just saying that's the option. That doesn't require anything. It just requires basically an electoral miracle in certain parts of California. When you look at Los Angeles, which is about 19% Republican, yeah, it would be hard to translate that to a 60-40 victory, because that's what it will take for us to be able to prevent them from being able to steal an election. Okay. It's possible. I look to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and I say, please, Lord, let this happen. And if he wills it to happen, it'll happen. Nothing we can do to stop it. Nothing they can do to stop it. But that's that. Okay, so option number 2 is that we just fix the voting system itself, which is very hard. We're voting on voter ID, which it should be, even out here in California, should be an 80-20 play. It should be easy to vote for voter ID. But of course, that would require the Democrats to lose their advantage. So I would imagine that if they were ever going to cheat on a ballot measure, that's the one. As much as it's great to say, well, they've got 80% of the people of California want voter ID, but magically on one of those another unicorn moment, magically on election day 2026, only 49.99% of Californians voted for voter ID. The other 50.0001% happened to vote against. Oh, it was a close call. Darn it, we can't have voter ID. That's option 2. And that one too, by the way, I make the joke that, it's going to be a tight race and they're going to be able to beat it. But that's one where we might actually be able to do the whole too big to rig scenario. Because if we can get maybe not 80%, but if we can get that to 65, 70%, who knows? Now, option 3 is it's the most beautiful option, and it's the ugliest option. It's the most beautiful option because option 3 is we just pass the Save America Act. But it is the ugly option because I believe that in order to be able to use the California election to rile up the base enough to get in John Thune's, not physical face, but to, I guess through legal means, get in John Thune's face and the rhino's face and say, look what happened in California. They screwed over Steve Hilton. They screwed over Spencer Pratt. Somebody said Platt earlier. Now it's stuck in my head. Spencer Pratt. They stole the election from him with the mail-in ballots. We need the Save America Act now. That would be the silver lining. If, God forbid, this election does turn into another stolen, rigged election that puts Tom Steyer in magically at number 2 and Nithya Raman in magically at number 2 in the mayor's race. I don't know, folks. I don't want to make it a silver lining. It's more of a consolation prize. We will get the Save America Act someday, I believe. Don't know when. I pray it'll be this year. But my hopes aren't high. After the break, we'll talk about some other stuff. I don't have my notes, so I don't know. I got a flag, but no notes. So we'll be back here on the Wendy Bell radio program. Crap. I didn't get to my first story, did I? 18 minutes in. I didn't get to my first story yet. We're gonna make it through all these stories today, folks. We really, really are. I'm going to get into hyperspeed.
You need to focus. You need to focus. And one of the ways you can do that,
I can't. I need help. What can I use?
You can go to healthycell.com/Wendy. They have I need to focus too. Focus and recall. Wendy takes every day right before the show to be able to focus in on getting the first story out that she needs. But she also needs to remember to say the pledge. So JD's a step ahead today, but healthycell.com/Wendy is a perfect way to be able to help yourself sleep. Bone and joint, which Wendy also uses. The focus and recall. They have one to keep your blood sugars in check. They have one for heart and vascular. They have the REM, which I personally love it. They have the calming mood one. They have another one that I take, the daily. It's omega-3s and iron. Iron tastes like peach mango. Really good. That's the thing. I take pills every day and they're hard to swallow. Healthy Cell, just squirt it in your mouth and swallow it. You can even add it to water or anything like that, but it's good just by itself. So go to healthycell.com/Wendy, healthycell.com/Wendy.
Did you say iron?
Iron, iron, iron. That's
Iron?
my Yinzer. IRON.
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 Yeah, that's
So like, what do you do when you
your
go?
camera's off again.
What do you? Oh, of course it is. What do you do when you go to a job? I earn. Iron.
Iron.
You can do it. I can say the pledge. You can say iron like an
Yeah,
American.
I have a Yinzer accent. That's what I have.
Well,
You're not drinking out of a Wendy Bell Radio tumbler?
I don't have a Wendy Bell Radio tumbler yet. Where can I get one?
You
there a
can
Wendy
go
Bell
to
store?
WendyBellRadio.com under the shop tab.
Hmm?
WendyBellRadio.com under the shop tab.
WendyBellRadio.com under the shop tab, and I can get my own Wendy Bell tumbler.
Yeah.
Instead, I've got this. What is this? Stanley, probably. Oh, it is. It's a Stanley. My wife fell in love with Stanley. We used to use Yetis, and then I found out that Yetis are made in China. So we went to
Some
Stanley.
of their stuff is made in America. Stainless steel is hard to find, not made in China. So
Not for long, because we're bringing steel back to
I
America.
hope you're right. I hope you're right.
We're gonna have the Wendy Bell. We are back live, looking at tumblers. We need to get steel back here in the United States of America. It would be a great thing to have. With that said, back to real quick, just gonna put a button on it. Okay, this whole California thing, because for those who don't know, I'm JD Rucker. Yes, you can check me out at jdrucker.com. That's my drudge style news aggregator that I hand curate. But I could talk about California politics for, you give me enough coffee, I could do it for 36 straight hours. I could filibuster by myself on California politics. Not because I like it, it's because I dislike it. I'm just so immersed in it. It's no fun. But I don't want to put you all through that. We're just gonna show how they're already laying the groundwork for the steel over there at NBC. This came out. This isn't the only one. There was a bunch of them that came out. They're like, okay, well, so yes, Steve Hilton is in the lead, and yes, it does appear that Spencer Pratt is up by like 9 points over Nithya Raman, but clip one.
Polling place update is not going to be huge. So if we largely have half the vote to come, and it's going to be vote by mail, and you've already given me now, they've had 3 subsequent vote by mail updates. They're not huge, but they're not nothing. The pattern in them is Bass first, Raman second, Pratt distant third.
Right.
If that were to be the pattern with the remaining vote by mail, it's going to come in days following the election. If it's 39, 36, 33, 20, something like that, which is what you're telling me these 3 roughly have been, she could erase that.
Right.
It could happen. It could happen. It's so funny because these guys, these media types, they really don't know. I firmly believe this. They don't know that we know that they're partisan. It's not that they don't know that they're partisan. They know that they're biased. They when they're gathered around the virtual water cooler, or when they're actually maybe even physically, I guess they have to go into the office, unlike a lot of people, when they're physically there talking to each other, they're like, oh yeah, Spencer Pratt, he's such a bad guy. And he's just a reality TV star, and I know Karen Bass like ruined literally hundreds of thousands of lives, but we should give her a second chance. And I know Nithya Raman is sort of, well, just weird and completely unlikable and unelectable and sort of dumb for somebody who allegedly went to Harvard. And I know she's not even really from here, but my gosh, she's so much better than Spencer Pratt. That's what they think. That's what they talk about. And they go on the air and they're like, okay, I'm going to fool everybody. The audience thinks that I'm unbiased. Oh, they're such fools. But thankfully, I would say the journalist that I dislike the most, and that's saying a lot because I dislike a lot of legacy media journalists. There's very few that I actually do like. But the one that I can say I truly, if I thought about it for maybe, I don't know, if I thought about it for however long a time, I might be able to think of one or two obscure ones that I might like less. But there's one that I like or that I dislike more than pretty much everybody. And then there's another one that I adore, not because he's right, but because he's always wrong. He's like the Eric Swalwell of journalism. So the one that's always wrong is Scott Pelley. And I really, truly dislike him. The one that I like is Tater. I call him Tater. I think a lot of people call him Brian Stelter for some reason. He's always Tater to me. And so Tater was defending Scott Pelley yesterday because Scott got fired. It was so sad. And he was ready to just go to war. Listen to him. This is clip 2.
Yeah, this is like an underwater earthquake at CBS News. It's not going to be visible on TV right away, but this is bound to have many ripple effects and maybe a legal battle. Scott Pelley has been a 60 Minutes correspondent for more than 2 decades, and tonight he was fired by CBS News management one day after he erupted at a staff meeting and said that his current bosses are not qualified for their jobs. Pelley said yesterday that CBS News editor-in-chief Barry Weiss is, quote, murdering 60 Minutes by firing veteran staffers and hiring a former tech reporter named Nick Bilton to run the show. Earlier today, Pelley was called in for a meeting with Bilton and Weiss. It's unclear what happened in the meeting, but a few hours later, in fact, just about a few minutes ago, Pelley received a termination letter, and here's part of what it says. This letter from Bilton says, quote, "You hijacked my first meeting with staff to disparage me, my qualifications, and my intentions with remarkable incivility and contempt. Bilton says he tried to find a way forward, but you made clear you're not interested in such a path." The letter says Pelley has been terminated for cause, which means there will probably be a legal battle. Pelley might lawyer up and try to sue CBS. We'll see what happens. This is incredibly unusual to see a blow-up like this at a major network, with Pelley leaving and concerns about political clouds hovering over CBS News.
So for those on radio who are listening and not seeing, he was talking to Caitlin Collins, who's also up there. Okay, I don't dislike her as much as I dislike Scott Pelley, but she's pretty bad off. And it's so hard to believe that she got her start with the Daily Caller, which I actually might talk about a little bit later today, my current experience with the Daily Caller. But no, we probably won't bring that up today. Maybe that's something for tomorrow. But after the break, I do want to get into this because Scott Pelley's playing the victim card, as leftists are wont to do. But I would argue that this is coming down and playing out exactly, precisely the way that he wants it to. I'm JD Rucker, and you are listening to the Wendy Bell radio program. They can hear the music, right? I think I asked this yesterday. I just want to make sure because I don't want to look like an idiot dancing to the beat, because you guys got some great music. And it's like I'm sitting there dancing, and then I'm thinking, wait, what if they can't hear it? What if
they should be able to hear it.
I'm dancing to Brian Stelter, you know.
Oh God.
Getting some
potato head.
Caitlin Collins love going, right? You know, it's no, it was actually music.
The fact that he has no self-esteem to get fired from CNN and then come back as a contributor. If Wendy fired me today and said, "Hey, can you fill in for whomever she hires?" I'd be like, "No, what are you talking about?" Brian Stelter says, "Absolutely, I will come back and be a panelist."
What have you heard?
What's that?
What have you heard?
About what?
Oh, nothing. Never mind. Sorry.
Me getting fired?
Yeah, nothing. Just change the subject. I'm good. Come on. You just for a split second, you're like, what the hell's he? Oh, that's the joke. Okay, you didn't like that. You're actually
She
upset with me
couldn't
now.
fire me.
He's upset with me now.
She couldn't fire me.
He's upset with me now. There's probably a sponsor read. I'm going to go pop my back. So I will be right back.
Well, while he's doing popping his back, I'll tell you about Bloodflow 7. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Got to have that /Wendy in there. I'm going to read one of the testimonials that Wendy reads quite a bit. It says, "Hey, Wendy, I'm 65 years old and have been trouble with my blood pressure and having energy since I had COVID back in 2021. I was losing hope that would ever get better. I've been listening to your show every day for about a year now, and I always rumble. Thank you. That's a quick reminder to let everybody know to rumble. Since you were having good results with Bloodflow 7, I decided to order it and get the 4-month on subscription, praying that it would actually work for me. First couple of weeks, I didn't really notice anything different, so I started to doubt my decision. Yesterday was our annual Christmas tree hunting day, so this is an old one, where we go to the mountains and pick up and cut our own tree. I still do that. We were hiking up in several mountains. For the first time since 2021, I was able to join my family in this. That's what it does. It gives you the energy to do it. Like I said, I've been taking it. I take the XXX one. I can't get the light out of it. Anyways, the XXX one, and I don't nap. I have energy more. I feel like I have more energy. I go home and I cook, or I do what I need to get done after work, and I never feel tired until I go to bed. And like Wendy says, I've been noticing as soon as I put my head on the pillow, maybe 10 minutes and I'm out. So go to bloodflow7.com/Wendy, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's one of the ones that I love because it gives me the energy.
Okay, I'm back.
Your camera's off.
I know.
See, he does this because he knows it. It freaks me out.
Brock made the mistake. He's like, it sort of stresses me out when you keep your camera off. I'm like, oh no, you shouldn't have told me that, man.
Yeah,
that's not the way to get me to turn it back on.
It doesn't bother me anymore because now I'm used to it.
Oh, there we go. Well, then now stop doing it.
What? Oh, that's all it took?
What if it doesn't cause anyone else pain? It's not enough that I win.
Well, see,
I actually have to make sure that they lose.
It doesn't cause them pain because they don't know the back end of stuff. And when certain things...
I don't want the audience to feel pain. Just my family.
Well, they're feeling my pain.
I
give my pain to them.
I want my pain. I need my pain. What movie?
I have no idea.
Oh, boy.
Rocky?
No. All right. I will buy somebody a mug, a Wendy Bell mug, if they give the answer. First person to give the answer to that.
Don't do that because...
Okay.
I'm not going to know who it is.
Never mind. I won't do it. Eric the Gray got it. Nice. Which one?
Oh, boy. 4.
No.
1, 2.
No.
3.
No.
Isn't there like 9 of them?
Yes. They're trying to convince.
Someone in the comments yesterday put there's too much dead air. There's only dead air because you're not listening to the radio side. So when JD stops talking, and there's probably 10 seconds before he and I start jibber jabbering, it's because I have to get the radio side on clock. And he thinks his mic's hot, so he doesn't talk right away, which is the right thing to do. So that's why you think there's no dead air on radio, but there might be here because he's waiting for me to make sure everything's flowing correctly. So back end, there's that.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, you didn't?
No. We probably have dead air coming any second, don't we?
Yes, we do. You're going to count to 5.
Scott Pelley is gone. He's gone. Gone after like, what, 34 years, something like that. And it's a good thing. And not just a good thing for 60 Minutes, not just a good thing for Barry Weiss, okay? Not just a good thing for Nick Bilton, new boss over there at 60 Minutes. It's a good thing for Scott Pelley. This was intentional. I want to make sure that everybody caught what Stelter said, what Tater said before. He's going through and reading the letter, reading the response from CBS, and I want you to picture that this is the very first time. This is a staff meeting. Okay, it's not like this was in private. It's not like you got Pelley going over and saying, "Oh, hey, can I catch a few minutes with you all? I have concerns." Talking to Barry Weiss and Nick Bilton. No, he does it in the middle of the very first staff meeting. He's never spoken to Bilton before, by the way, and he comes out and he says that he's saying this to the staff meeting, that Barry Weiss is murdering 60 Minutes by hiring that guy, pointing to him in the room, saying that his qualifications are quote unquote slender. Okay, this guy, they haven't worked together yet. He's already insulting him in the middle of a staff meeting. Now, either Scott Pelley is an idiot, and he's not. The dude's smart. Look, I can dislike him all I want, but I'm not going to lie and say, "Oh, he's an idiot." I have no problem with calling anybody an idiot if they're an idiot. Scott Pelley's not an idiot. He's actually wicked smart. I mean, this guy's a brain. He's been a brain for a long time. This is one of the reasons that he's been successful. But he is, so we can just eliminate that possibility. The other possibility is that he wanted to get fired. He is a martyr now, and martyrs don't quit. If he would have just resigned, not a big deal, not big news. It's like, 34 years, guy was old anyway, okay, he's probably going to go start a podcast or something. But no, now he's a victim. He's a representation of everything evil that Barry Weiss is bringing to CBS News, that Ellison has put on to 60 Minutes, that Nick Bilton, the guy with the thin resume that shouldn't even be the boss, that all of a sudden he's going to be evil too for some reason. No. Scott Pelley is a drama queen, big time. And now he gets to feel martyred. I mean, he makes his narcissism is far greater than like a Don Lemon or a Jake Tapper. Okay. This guy looks down at the people that he imagines look up to him. We're talking about other journalists, other people in the business. He considers himself to be sort of like, the epitome of pure professional journalism. He is the whatever, pick out a great, $1 million word that somebody like Scott Pelley would use. He's the icon. He pictures himself. He is basically legacy media Jesus. That's how Scott Pelley pictures himself, and he just sacrificed himself. He's the martyr for journalism. This was all planned. This is all intentional. He did it in a staff meeting for a reason, and that reason was to try to embarrass Barry Weiss and Nick Bilton. That's why he said the things that he did, which were, I'm certain everything that he said in that meeting was rehearsed. I'm certain that his responses have been rehearsed. He's not the kind of guy that's going to go in blind. It's funny because I'm that guy. I'll go in blind everywhere, every time. Somebody had made a comment yesterday. It's like, he takes such good notes. He's always prepared. There's a reason that I go in with good notes and I go in with preparation, because I usually pick stories that I don't know a lot about. It's funny because here, the Wendy Bell Radio Nation is getting to hear a different version of me. Okay. Generally speaking, I don't like to cover the big stories. I really don't. I prefer to find those nuggets of stories that maybe legacy media is not covering. Maybe even most podcasters aren't covering. I don't like to be the guy that's talking about Spencer Pratt all day, every day. Okay. It's not that I can't, I could, but I would prefer not to. Because there's already a bunch of people talking about it. But because it's such big news, it is important. That's why it's I said it was funny because here I am. I would love to do the standard JD Rucker style show, but this week happens to be the week, as I'm on with Wendy Bell Nation, that I've got these big, huge stories, big elections, California, where I live. It would be dumb for me to not talk about it. Scott Pelley getting fired. Can't skip that one. Cannot skip that one at all. The whole Graham Plattner thing. Oh my gosh, I could talk about that for a long, long time. Or I could just point to John Fetterman, who had just a very short clip that he was talking about Plattner. It's short, but it's poignant. So let's go to clip 3.
What kind of a creeper has been on a decade on a platform like Kick and send a dozen explicit kinds of messages and who knows what else?
Would it be better for Democrats if he was not the candidate here?
All I'm saying, it's like, when I was growing up, if someone had a clear Nazi tattoo on them, you probably could conclude that there's a Nazi sympathizer. How, at some point, are you going to continue to defend that or dismiss that?
Now, I asked Fetterman how he feels about Janet Mills, who is the Democratic governor who has suspended her campaign. He talked up her candidacy. Of course, Mills has suspended her campaign, but she did make comments yesterday reminding voters that she is still on the ballot.
She's still on the ballot. It ain't over yet, is it? Except I think it already is, at least for the ballot. I think that even her statement was part of a ploy. Talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it's now been fleshed out, and I've got some new data. But first, let's talk about Fetterman. Look, John Fetterman, I would say, is a true enigma. I mean, a full-blown, I can't figure him out. On one hand, I don't trust him. I know everybody's like, oh, he's the one reliable. He should become a Republican. He's the one reliable vote against Chuck Schumer's agenda. He's this, he's that. I'm not 100% sold on it. Okay. I'm not. So far, he's been great. Okay. I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm just waiting for the knife. I'm not turning my back on that guy, not just because he's like huge and wears a hoodie everywhere. No, I'm not turning my back on him politically speaking, because I'm not quite there yet. Can't get full trust in him. Okay. But with that said, I like him. I mean, what's not to like? He called a Senate candidate in his own party a creeper. He called him out for being a potential Nazi sympathizer. Hey, gosh, that's awesome. But he's the only one amongst the Democrats that has gone that far. You think, well, maybe they're just ignoring him. No. They're not just ignoring him. They're doing what I had talked about earlier in this week. They're doing what I believe to be the plan. And yes, I do think it involves Janet Mills, but not before the election. I think they're going to pull a Swalwell on him, but a variation of it, and combine it with a Biden, and then just pull all sorts of shenanigans to make something happen. He came down and he had a meeting with everybody. He met with the Senate Democrats, he being Graham Plattner. And nobody knows what happened in the meeting. He didn't say anything going in, didn't say much going out. But the senators that he talked to, they did. And they're like, oh my gosh, we talked to him. We let him know that we're not happy with him. And we're just going to see what happens after. No, they were like, I am fully behind him. We're talking about Chuck Schumer, the Senate minority leader, who wants to be the Senate majority leader, which is why he wants that seat so badly. So it wasn't just him. It was also Bernie Sanders, this is probably the most disappointing thing I've ever seen of or heard from Bernie Sanders in my life. I don't like Bernie Sanders. I don't like his politics, but he's been more consistent than most Democrats. We'll just put it that way. Not fully consistent. He's still very hypocritical, but this is the most hypocritical he's ever been, because he's backing somebody who might have a sort of ideological far left-wing feel about him, but he literally has a Nazi tattoo. He literally is talking about doing crazy things in porta potties. He's sexting with multiple women, maybe up to a dozen women while married. He's on a platform that is known for grooming children. And he's not just on that platform. He's got a topless, only wearing a towel selfie on that platform. These are the types of things that, you know what, if you're hiring somebody to work the drive-through and you knew all this stuff about him, you'd probably hesitate. Be like, yeah, I don't know. We'll call you. Yeah, we'll call you. Just thanks. Thanks for coming in. But no, but for U.S. Senate, oh yeah, he's got my full endorsement and blah 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 blah. And again, we're not just talking about any senators. We're talking about the leaders, those out there who should be most vehemently opposed to him because they've been talking about, oh my gosh, Trump's a Nazi and that Republican's a Nazi and that guy's a Nazi and that's a Nazi. And then they actually see a Nazi and it's like, oh, and he deserves a second chance. He's just a humble oyster fisherman farmer guy. You know, he's I don't think he was grooming. I don't think he was doing any of that stuff. No. Anyway, yes, they're coming out and endorsing him, which means one of two things. And I put this article, you can read the entire breakdown over at AmericaFirstReport.com. It's an article titled Democrat Senators Renewed Embrace of Graham Plattner tells us one of two things, and both are nasty. Option number one is that their desire, their need for power supersedes their need for decency. It's possible, but I don't think that's it. Yeah, I don't think I can't see them thinking, well, if we endorse him, maybe he can get over, these 42 scandals that he's involved in and beat Susan Collins, an incumbent that we haven't been able to beat ever. I don't think they're thinking that. I think they're thinking what I already detailed before, which is he goes into next week's primary. Okay. June 9th, Tuesday, goes there, wins the Democrat primary, which he will. Even with all these scandals, he's still going to win because they don't have anybody else out there. And then I think that during yesterday's meeting with all the senators, Chuck Schumer said, okay, you're going to win the primary and then we're going to need you to back out. And here's your incentive. Okay. You're going to bow out honorably, focus on family, focus on counseling, say all these things. We'll have a return for you in some sort of form or capacity in the future. But for now, you're going to do this. And if you don't do this, then, whatever, you're going to call Hillary and Hillary will make sure that you're not running. You would much rather do it your way. I'm not saying that they're going to try to Hillary him. I'm just saying they did something. Because once he drops out, they can pick whoever they want. And I would imagine, based on the bench, they're probably going to pick Janet Mills, the 77-year-old two-time senator who couldn't win the election on her own for the establishment. The Uniparty swamp is going to try to win it for her. After the break, we're going to take another look at California. I know. Up next on the Wendy Bell radio program. Did I cut it close?
No, that's not a hard break.
Darn it. I was trying to cut it. Star Trek 5, correct, Doc Wombat. But we are still going to give it to the other gentleman. I will just reach out to me, and you can reach out to me for any reason whatsoever by going to jdrucker.com/talk. That goes directly to me. Good question. Why didn't we primary Susan Collins? Maine is it's a forgettable state. I hate to say it. I hate to put it like that. But here's the thing, for quote unquote forgettable states, those are the states where we need to put as much focus as possible. We need to build a bench. We need to get somebody in Alaska to replace Murkowski. We need to get somebody in Maine to replace Collins. And by get somebody, obviously it has to be somebody homegrown. I don't know. Unfortunately, I've never participated in any of these smaller state. Like, I participated in politics in Texas, New York, and California. Not by choice. It just happens to be where I am. So, yeah, I don't know. You'd think, oh, this election's going to have, 250,000 voters. It's like, what? That should be easy. Surely we can find somebody, right? I'm used to, LA. It's like, I think in LA, I don't think, let me pull up the numbers.
I think people don't want to run because they sit there in like New York and California and probably in Maine too. They're like, I don't have a chance of winning. I think that's why you see a lot of Republicans not run in the Pittsburgh area. It's so blue that they just figure I can't win, so why waste my time?
Well, but I mean, we're talking Alaska's not blue. We can go there.
No,
Maine's not blue.
But she
Maine's
was anointed,
kind of blue.
She was anointed and took her dad's seat, and Trump has to go find someone, and she's part of the establishment, so they'll rig it for her anyways. Much like they've rigged the healthcare system. It doesn't work for you, so why not get healthcare that works for you? Health plans that save you 30 to 60% compared to most Obamacare plans, no copays, reasonable deductibles, and freedom to see any doctor you choose. This plan are available right now if you're self-employed, paying your own coverage, COBRA, just done overpaying, and you're under the age of 65. Health Revolution. This is Tom. Tom's a great guy. Health Revolution will custom design a plan built for you. Call 800-868-6187, 800-868-6187, or visit healthrevolution.net, healthrevolution.net. Info at healthrevolution.net, info at healthrevolution.net. Like I said, if you're 65 or younger in relatively good health, why pay for stuff you don't need? We're already doing that with illegals getting free health care. Take control of your health care. Info.healthrevolution.net, 800-868-6187.
Okay. Nice. Let's see. Somebody said something. I used to run Maine years ago. I got my first speeding ticket.
All right, here we go.
All right, time for a California update. We will be updating the results from the California election for the next 29 and a half days. That's so stupid, but here we are. First, looking at the live results for the LA mayor's race. You've got with 63.1% of the vote in. You got Karen Bass at 172,000, Spencer Pratt at 151,000, Nithya Raman at 110,000 percentages, 34.8, 30.4, and 22.3. Now, common sense tells us that this should be safe enough for Spencer Pratt, even with mail-in balloting coming in for the next week or so, that this should be enough for a guy like him to easily win. Even if I was in legacy media, I would probably call this one because he's up by over 8 points, and with 63% in, it's going to be really tough, even with mail-in ballots, for Nithya Raman to overcome that. But over on the governor's side, with 57.5% of the whole state of California votes in, we have 1.386 million for Steve Hilton, 1.267 million for Javier Becerra, and 979,000 for Tom Steyer. Percentages: 27.8 for Hilton, 25.4 for Becerra, and 19.6 for Steyer. You might think, okay, so Hilton's in first. Well, guess what? They're possibly, and I'll put it at this point at about 50-50 chance, they're possibly going to try to make him third. You might say, how could he be third if he's currently first? Well, mail-in ballots over the next 29 days in the state of California. It's very possible they're able to manufacture. It's like, oh my gosh, look, we got all of these other ballots. We got another 1 million ballots in. And as there was, Hilton might have been shown for the day of voting, he was at 27%, but for the mail-in ballots, he only got 12%. And Tom Steyer was only at 19% for the live voting and for the previously counted ballots, but for the late mail-in ballots, he was at 32%. And so, add all that together. Becerra moves up a little bit. He gets to 29%. And Steyer moves up and gets to 28%. And Hilton stays at 27 or even drops down to 26%. And all of a sudden, he's out. Now, that would be a bold move if that's what they do. And if they do that, then I would say we, as patriots, have every bit of evidence that we could possibly need to say, John Thune, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. Get the Save America Act passed. Now, I noticed people were saying, well, no, they don't want it. Of course they don't want it. Of course they don't want it, but they still have to answer to us when we get mad enough. The problem is that we as Republicans or conservatives, we rarely get mad enough. Okay, that we got mad enough on January 6th, and then a lot of people went to jail. A lot of people lost a lot of time out of their lives as a result. And I'm not saying that should make us too scared to revolt or to engage in our legal right to protest. I'm just saying that it did have a cooling effect, as it was intended to do. And then there's things outside of that. We can, with the elections and everything else, we need to apply pressure. They, especially John Thune, needs to be made aware that, and I don't have enough time to talk about it. I will talk about it very thoroughly next week. My show is going to go live on Rumble immediately after every Wendy Bell radio program. I'm working out the details, but as soon as Wendy Bell goes out, signs out for the day, I'm signing in, and I will be able to talk about it because I am not on radio on my show, so I can go do 15, 20 minute straight, just explaining what and when and how we're able to try to get the Save America Act passed, because it's not easy. It's not complicated. It's not like we can do it, you guys. No, there's a process. Unfortunately, there's a process that we would have to go through, but it can be done. We just need passion. And that's why when I say that the California vote, if they do take out Hilton, if they do take out Pratt, that might be, I don't want that to happen, but then at least we have something that can start to build rage and fury. Because just being like, well, no, we really, really need the Save America Act. Well, that's been the case the whole time. And Thune has been able to dodge it the whole time. Not if we're angry, not if we're actually engaged, fully engaged in making it happen. And that is exactly what would happen if they screw us over in California. See, after the break, we'll be going beyond California into other areas right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. Did I cut it close? Did you get scared? Trying to scare you, man. Did you get scared? Did I cut it close? I don't have to.
You gave me 4 seconds.
Oh, jeez. Next time you have 2. Wait, do you actually have to do something, or does it go automatically?
I actually have to do something.
Okay, then I won't. Then in that case, I didn't know that. I won't cut it so close. I'll try to get out with 7 or 8 seconds left. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Battleground Rush Hour. What is that? I don't even know what that is.
What?
I'll do a lot. Miriam54 says, could you take over the Battleground Rush Hour at 5 p.m.? Is that 5 p.m. Eastern Pacific?
Yes.
What is Battleground Rush Hour? I've never
even
heard that.
Battleground was what Sean was doing.
Ah.
Yeah.
I see.
But,
now he's just trying to save America.
Yeah, Sean's not going to be gone forever. And don't be surprised you know, I'll be. This is just me. I'm not. I'm just speculating because of everybody else. I have no idea. No
But-
one lasts 4 years in those positions.
You think it could be soon?
I'm not saying when. I don't know. But no one ever lasts 4 years. It's 4 years of being away from family, being 4 years away from the everyday joys that people get from their kids, seeing games or plays or whatever, and it's not like he can come home every weekend and for every event. So
True.
That's a lot. I would venture to say it's a stress on a marriage too. I mean, living in two different places. I mean, sometimes that might be advantageous, but
Trying to see if I've got his number.
Sean,
Mm-hmm.
I asked him to come on to talk about the UFOs because he's a part of that. And he's like, White House is dealing with all that. I don't think I'm giving any secret information. He's like, everything has to go through the White House.
I don't have his number. I will have to. I know I have it. I just didn't have it on my phone. Well, we'll get him on.
He's a good dude.
He is. He is. All right, cool. Gosh, my back feels so much better. I got one of those little rollers that you roll, you roll on it and then you pop from your neck. It's so awesome.
I go to the chiropractor.
Yeah, but you're rich. I'm not. I have to use this little
Right,
makeshift
right.
roller thing.
I don't know if you know this. I make $4 an hour.
Wait, you get paid?
Yeah. Speaking of that, I have to tell you that Wendy said send your info
What info?
so she can pay you.
I don't have any info. I'm in LA, man. I'm homeless. Just send it to Spencer Pratt. He'll get it.
Send it to the nearest pile of crap laying on the.
I don't even know whose house I'm in. I've just been going to this house.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Do I know you? You're my child today.
No, they're not here. Whoever it is, whoever owns this house, they haven't been here all week.
Well, if you're out in the street and you step in some dog crap or human crap, you can always go to disinfectwithsniper.com, get some Sniper, cleans everything. It's disinfectant, hospital grade disinfectant. I use it every day. I use it on my countertops, my bathrooms. I know Wendy uses it every day. She uses it multiple times a day because she cleans multiple times a day. But go to disinfectwithsniper.com. You can get Harmony for your garden, Harmony for your inside for the insects, ants. They now have a mosquito repellent. So that's always good to have. I got eaten alive the other day because I didn't spray it, and I should have sprayed it. But you can go to disinfectwithsniper.com. They're having a sale on all the 250 flags for the ones outside and the ones that aren't stitched and the ones that are stitched are both on sale. They're doing sale on the 12-pack. I think it's a 12-pack of the seasonings from Hunt Chef for Father's Day. Recommend the Big Sexy Beast seasoning. And the carnivore, Canadian carnivore, fantastic. But go to disinfectwithsniper.com. You can see it all there. Yeah, he is super quick shipping. You guys allowed him to go after Amazon with the free shipping and all that, and it's been successful. And I will say from him, because I talk to him regularly, sometimes daily, thank you.
You're welcome.
Not you.
Oh.
You didn't buy anything from disinfectwithsniper.com.
How do you know? Just waiting to have a permanent address.
Did you? Because I'll get the address off of him if you did.
Dead air. I know, I'm teasing. I just
You
like
guys
reading
can't
these
hear the
ads.
music. That's why. It's the way the system's set up. Like you can hear it when someone's in studio, you can hear it, but when you're not in studio, I have to run it a completely different way.
Oh, I know it's not dead air. I'm just saying they think it is. It's fine.
Yeah, we're probably going to do Zippo lighters too. And as soon as Wendy decides on the shirt she wants, we'll be throwing those up too for available for purchase. So, all right, here we go with some what you guys would refer to as dead air.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program. Filling in for Wendy Bell from Patriot TV, J.D. Rucker.
J.D. Rucker. You know, I wish I was an anchor dad. If Wendy's an anchor mom, I want to be an anchor dad. My wife is she's an anchor mom as well. She's been doing it with me for over 3 decades, and I am very blessed, ultimately blessed, to have her and our children in my life. I'm not going to start this hour off with a tear. Not yet. Not today. I am still looking at, I guess that the California election results, they must be just waiting for the mail-in ballots to come in, because it has not been updating at all for like an hour. And that really bugs me. You'd think, oh, it's the day after the election. Surely they're counting more ballots. No, they're still stuck at 57.5%. It's almost like they're trying to set us up, right? They're just trying to set us up. And they're going to have Becerra. He's going to be there. He's going to end up at number 1 instead of Hilton. And then they're going to look at Tom Steyer, and they're going to be like, do we want Tom Steyer to be number 3? Or do we want Barack Obama Shaw to be number 3? What? Yes. There's a gentleman who legally changed his name to Barack Obama Shaw way back in like 2013 or something like that. I'm not kidding. And he ran for office. He ran for governor in California, him and 60 other people. And he actually did okay. He got 8,700 votes. That's amazing. I'm sorry, but you know, the people do weird things, and changing your name to Barack Obama is up there with one of the weird things to do. But he did it when Obama was in office, and to be fair, he's followed through. He ran for California governor, and he got 8,700 votes. So kudos to Barack Obama Shaw. Oh, funny stuff. Now, Javier Becerra, you know, we haven't talked much about that. We talked a little bit about it earlier in the week. We haven't talked about who do we want to go up against. You know, we knew that Steve Hilton was going to be the choice, if any, for the Republicans. We knew that Chad Bianco just didn't have a chance. The math wasn't with him. The president of the United States wasn't with him. President Trump had endorsed Steve Hilton very early, and so it's going to be Steve Hilton. But who do we want? Sometimes it's just a matter of going up against the right opponent. And Tom Steyer, for all of his shortcomings, because he's just a weird dude. Okay. I almost would have rather gone up against him because it's hard to get especially the youthful Democrat vote out here in California. It's hard to go to them and say, okay, so here's what we're going to do. Here's the game plan, kids. We're going to vote for the really old, white, straight billionaire, because nothing says modern day Democrat Party like an old, straight, white, male billionaire. But then the other side of that, the flip side, is that the dude's rich. He sunk $200 million of his own money into the primary. How much would he have spent during the general election? And for those of us who are like, oh, money doesn't always buy elections. No, it doesn't always. Clearly, didn't buy it for Tom Steyer yet. Doesn't always buy you an election, but it does certainly help having essentially unlimited funds to be able to use for your general election campaign to become the governor of California. So I did not look forward to that. As far as Javier Becerra, the guy has some challenges. I've detailed for the last few months. I've detailed some of his challenges. He's had some challenges with endorsements. He's had some major challenges with the fact that he was the one responsible for basically losing hundreds of thousands of illegal alien children, sending them off to God knows where. I don't even want to think about it or talk about it. What happened to those kids under his watch at HHS? And the fact that he was like, all right, we got to keep it going faster. If Henry Ford was running this, then if he was running Ford the way that we're running HHS, then he wouldn't have been rich. He said something to that effect. He wouldn't have been successful. He wanted to churn out as many placements of illegal alien children with MS-13 gang members, strip clubs, just anybody who will take the children and do awful things with them. That's Becerra. Okay. Then there is the whole current scandal, which Steve Hilton has talked about. I'll talk about later in the week because that's an important one. It's not something I can just glaze over. But he also, Becerra, has some other challenges. He doesn't answer questions very well. You'd think he would. I mean, he's an attorney. He's been an attorney general. Started off as a congressman. Went to attorney general. Went over to HHS. Now he's trying to run for governor. But he actually, in the strangest form I've ever seen, he actually pulled what a lot of people are saying. He had his Kamala Harris moment. And if he continues to run his campaign during the general election against, hopefully, Lord willing, Steve Hilton like this, who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's not such a long shot after all. Let's go to clip 4.
It does seem that Xavier Becerra is the main choice of the Democrat machine. How will you go about beating him in a general election?
Well, let's look at him. He is now the living embodiment of more of the same. 36 years, a career politician in California. He had his own Kamala Harris moment just the other night on CNN. Remember Kamala Harris in the election, and they asked her, is there anything different you would have done than Joe Biden? And she looked up in the air and said, oh, nothing comes to mind. Javier Becerra had his own version. He was asked by CNN. The CNN anchor said, California's in a mess. You've got the highest unemployment rate, highest poverty rate, highest cost of living, homelessness. Is there anything you would have done differently? You know what his answer was? Well, actually, it's not that bad in California because lots of people are still going to Disneyland. This guy's a joke. He's enmeshed in a corruption scandal. He could still be indicted. His record as health secretary was a complete disaster. He actually pushed thousands of migrant kids into the clutches of child sex traffickers. He's totally useless. Even his colleagues in the Biden administration are openly briefing the press about how utterly incompetent he was. So this guy is not serious. That's what I mean. We can beat these people. We really can.
It is possible. I'm not going to say that Hilton is wrong, but it's going to take something big. In other words, just little snafus here and there, statements making him sound like Kamala Harris. We're talking about California here. Okay, let's be real. The LA race is different because you've got a history of failure with Karen Bass, and you've got a truly full-blown energized guy in Spencer Pratt. That election, and we'll talk about that one, that election is going to be different. But as far as for Steve Hilton's chances, if it's a head-to-head between him and Javier, I know that Gates said Xavier, Javier Becerra, if it's between Hilton and Becerra, then we need something kind of monumental, right? We need something really big. It can't just be my policies are better than his policies, or, like right now, Steve Hilton's got it. I think it's a great idea. He says no taxes on the first $100,000 you make. So if you make under $100,000, he is under his plan, you would pay zero income tax in the state of California. And if you make $400,000, you're paying against $300,000 because that first $100,000 that you make in a year would not be taxed. So I think it's a very strong plan because it is a tax cut for sure, but it's not the type of tax cut that would impact it wouldn't lower the taxes of the people that are making, say, 7 digits or 8 digits a year. Okay, it wouldn't really impact them very much. And you might say, well, don't they deserve it? They do. Don't get me wrong. I'm against all taxes. Okay, I think there should be none. But I'm a little extreme in that regard. But if you're trying to win in California, if he were to say, we're going to do an across the board 3% cut on taxes, then the Democrats and legacy media will be like, okay, well, that means that if you're paying, if you're only making $50,000 a year, you're only going to save this little amount. But if you're Elon Musk, then you're going to save this amount. And, you can't do that. So I like this plan, but it's not enough. We need something big, something monumental, something grandiose. And unfortunately, it's not anything that Steve Hilton can necessarily do. The big thing, the grandiose thing, might end up having to be some sort of scandal. Now, thankfully, with Becerra, there are a few different options. There are very likely skeletons in this guy's closet, big time skeletons. One of the biggest ones, I know I said I was going to talk about it later in the week, but the corruption scandal is huge. Okay. His former chief of staff, who he wanted to take with him from California to the federal government, he wanted to have him serve with him at HHS, but he couldn't because the federal government didn't pay enough, not compared to California bureaucrats. So the only way that he could do it was to sort of filter the money in. It's a disgusting tale. And yes, there are people that are in trouble, that are potentially going to jail over it. Javier Becerra is not one of them. What if he was? What if they are gathering information? Could the Trump administration, the DOJ, help Steve Hilton win? I don't know. Something to consider. After the break, we're talking about legacy media, talking a little bit more about Karen Bass, and then we'll get to more Spencer Pratt right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. Wendy Bell Radio's live.
Still.
I got it stuck in my head. I say it over and over again now.
What? Wendy Bell Radio's live?
Yeah. I say that, and I say I'm not going to say what I hear.
Oh, okay.
It's the voices. It's the voices.
Oh boy.
It's the voices.
Which JD will come out today? Multiple personalities.
Well, the other ones aren't called JD. Duh. I've got one called Xavier.
Do you? Is it telling people about your ability to get kids to go where you want when pretending you don't know where they're at? As an assembly line?
I could have sworn you were segueing into a sponsor. I thought, how can you do it from Xavier?
Well, I could. If you got multiple personalities and things going on in your head, you could go to the SimkovicConcussionInstitute.com and find out exactly what's going on. Maybe it's head trauma. Maybe it's head trauma. Maybe it's your wife hit you in the head too many times. I don't know. Maybe you bumped your head enough that you've had enough concussions to get you out of whack to where you got those multiple personalities. But go to Simkovich ConcussionInstitute.com or call 412 366-3700, 412-366-3700. Let them check your head out. If you have tremors or if you have migraines or anything dealing with your balance, give them a call, 412-366-3700, Simkovich ConcussionInstitute.com, and find out what's going on. You never know how bad you feel until you start to feel good again. And he can maybe give you a hand and help you get back to your normal, not your new normal, your old normal.
You know, it's funny that the next clip comes during a short segment because that's a long clip.
It is a long clip. But
I like it. When you sent it to me, I had trouble keeping up with it. I had to watch it twice.
Yeah, it's 3:43. I could have cut it. I should have cut it out for you.
It's okay. No. We're gonna roll with it. I'm gonna go into it very quickly out of the break. Then we will have time before the next break.
I can see you. So if you want to cut it, just go like this. During the clip, because I can see you in the small box.
Play it all. Just play it.
Okay,
it's fine. Yeah, I want to
hearing them talk about it all.
If I go like this, it makes me feel like I'm, I don't know, one of those. What's that guy? Jonah Hill. Yep.
Oh, I remember that. They were making fun of him at one of the awards, and he did that. And it went viral. Lord knows I wasn't watching the award show.
Yeah. Jonah Hill. There we go. I'm frozen. Am I frozen? I'm not frozen, am I?
No.
Rumble freezes sometimes.
Time to count to 5.
You know, like I've said many times on my show, I like to take some of the smaller stories. And a lot of times they have to do with the media because I am a big fan of condemning and calling out legacy media. And it's lazy of me. It really is lazy because sometimes, most of the time, it seems that they make fools of themselves. I don't even have to call them out. This particular assessment by the CNN panel, it's relatively long, but I want you to listen to it. And I want you to listen to the contempt in their voices for the people that actually, love America. Let's go to clip 5.
Panel for some final thoughts on this election night. What are you thinking?
California Democrats, this is a bad night for you. You've had weak candidates. And on the other side of the ledger with the Republicans, these are also candidates that, generously speaking, should not be performing as well as they are. And yet they are performing well. And this is a warning shot for you.
Look, I think Karen Bassett's an embarrassing performance for an incumbent mayor. If Mr. Pratt does not win this tonight, if he doesn't make it to the final runoff, she should still be embarrassed. Message sent by Los Angeles voters: the Democrats suck, and they need to do something to fix their city.
Karen Bass won tonight and lost the argument, and Spencer Pratt has won that. He's not likely to win in the general, though.
What do you think?
I'm going to zip over to Iowa, where the news for Democrats, I think, was better tonight than what we're seeing out of California, which is that this argument about what Trump has done to the economy is salient. I think Democrats nominated the Senate candidate who can potentially win in a state that, is going to be an uphill fight, but where I think it's possible. So if you're looking toward November, I think there were a lot of really good signs for Democrats in Iowa.
Final predictions on when we actually will have the final numbers out of California. What are you thinking?
Oh, I have no idea. That's the last thing I'd want to do is predict with California.
Says the Floridian, yes.
Yeah, no. All right. If I had to predict when California, so if we're doing like, what are we betting now? Are we all going
Kalshi.
to
Let's do it on Kalshi.
Like, should we do a Kalshi?
George Santos.
I mean, I think, it'll be like a week, right? You've got to
Well,
wait
there's 7 days. 7 days to get ballots in, and then, verify signatures. So, 10 days, 2 weeks from now.
$1.
$1.
Price is Right rules.
Price is Right. Okay, finally, and this is on behalf of Ken Law, who's been outside of the headquarters of Spencer Pratt. Do we think that Spencer Pratt is actually going to speak or let the press in at least for tacos?
No.
Oh, I do. I do.
You do.
Oh,
Yes,
I do.
I
But
think
we just heard that there's like an entire 1980s pantheon back there of
What will
sort
he
of,
say?
Of sort of stars, Jeannie Garth and other people from back in the day, all his crew from his Hills days. What is he going to say?
He's going to declare victory.
Yeah.
He's going to say he won.
He's going to say this was a wake-up call to the establishment.
Whether he loses
Yeah.
or wins,
Of
he
course.
won.
He won the argument.
He won. Spencer Pratt won.
Wow.
Oh,
that
come on
has
now.
the final word on this
Listen,
show
he
today.
wins. He
Hold on.
wins. I'm just saying, he
the
wins.
numbers. That's not the final word for all this tonight. Okay. How about we're going to go just now to of course, Alex Michelson is going to pick up the coverage for us. And we're going to continue to talk about what's going on because there's been so much that's unfolded today on this very important day. Although we might not know the numbers coming out immediately out of California, we still have some insight as to what is going to come next. And of course, the number one question I still have, given from Iowa to California, is what the role of the President of the United States will be in all of this. Is he still a kingmaker to you?
Oh, there's no doubt. Donald Trump is still the king of the Republican Party nationwide, despite Randy Fincher's loss. Donald Trump is like the colossus. He's like the colossus
Is he
at
going to be an
Rhodes.
anchor? The question is, he might be able to bestow the crown, but is that crown going to weigh these people down?
Well, and that it depends on where you are, right? It depends on what district you're in. It depends what state you're in, right? And so that's if you're in a R plus 30 seat, you're great. You want Donald Trump in. If you're in a purple state, you don't want Donald Trump in. So it all depends. There's lots of places in America Donald Trump will campaign. You need to get your base out. Donald Trump's very good at turning the base out. So I think it's still a net positive for Donald Trump all across America.
They can't hide their contempt. If you're listening to this show, if you ever watch the show on Rumble or listen on the radio or X or wherever, then those people, they hate you. They think that you represent stupidity. They think that you're not sophisticated enough to understand things. They think that you're probably stuck in the 80s. Who's going to rip on Jenny Garth, of all people? Okay? 90210, man. Come on. I mean, this is... And the whole idea that, Spencer Pratt, two of them said that they didn't think he was going to speak. Are you kidding me? Have you been paying any attention? He'll talk to anybody about anything. He's not the one that canceled the debates. He's not the one that hides from the press. He even said, hey, you know what? They asked him, are you going to debate Karen Baskin? He's like, I'd love to. I'll do it every week. Every week we'll debate. I'll talk to her about anything. We'll always debate. They don't understand. I said earlier, talking about Scott Pelley and Legacy Media, saying that they think that we're stupid and that we don't realize that they're biased. Well, guess what? That panel just demonstrated that these quote-unquote journalists and correspondents and contributors, they don't understand us. And they don't understand the United States of America. And it's sad. Up next, after the break, talk about what we're going to do with Spencer Pratt right here on the Wendy Bell Radio Show. What is it? Is Wendy Bell Radio program? Wendy Bell, what is it? What's the official name? I think I've said 5 different things.
What's that?
What is it called? The Wendy Bell Radio Show program? Network?
She says it all. On the Wendy Bell Radio Network, on the Wendy Bell Radio Show. I don't know if she says program.
Oh, well, I'm going to say program then.
Okay.
I'm going to own the program. We are the Wendy Bell Radio Army. That is true. That is true. It cut off from me, by the way.
I know it did. That was my bad.
Oh.
That was
Did I get cut off? Did you cut me
No,
off?
you didn't. You didn't.
You cut me
The
off.
music cut off for some
Oh my
reason.
gosh! You know when people cut me off on the road, I get so mad.
Well, you can be mad. I don't care.
I get so mad. It makes me want to get some. I don't know any of our sponsors. Do we have any
You know what
comedy
makes you
sponsors?
mad? Is when your roof leaks.
Yes.
When your windows get fogged up. When your gutters get stuffed and break and don't put the water where you want them to. Go to IrelandContracting.com. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. IrelandContracting.com. If the outlets, Wendy talked about the fans in her kitchen not working, you can call Dan. Man, every time I talk, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.com, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.com, IrelandContracting.com. They do gutters, downspouts, soffit, fascia, roofs. They do everything. And they're good people, and they're honest. They give you a quote. It's good up for a year. They do windows, doors. They do it all. Anything on the exterior house, Ireland Contracting, if you're in southwestern Pennsylvania, is the way to go.
Sexy gutters too.
Yeah, IrelandContracting.com, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Are they the ones? Are they Amish?
They do have Amish installers. They're very clean, which your camera's off.
Oh, yes, I know.
They're very clean. Wendy is huge. She went out. She's always picking up sticks on the weekends. Always. I think she does it just to be alone. Like that is her alone time to be in her own head, maybe. I don't know. But she went around looking for nails or tar paper or anything like that. She's like, I couldn't find anything, which is a big deal, especially in the Wendy Bell world, where clutter and dirt. I went over the other day to see her they're working on this new build out she's doing. I stepped on the gravel part, and she's like, oh, great. Now you got gravel dust all over your shoes. You're going to track it back through my house. So, like, she's anal about that kind of thing. And she was ecstatic when she couldn't find anything off of her roof in her yard. So,
You know, it's kind of weird that Spencer Pratt hasn't posted anything on X.
you know what else is weird?
Mm-mm.
That you're talking and we're seeing nothing.
I know, it's weird, huh? I'm checking my Twitter. All right, I'll stop checking Twitter.
I don't understand why checking Twitter, is it in the same browser as?
No, I turn it off intentionally.
Oh.
Yeah, the whole idea here is that I want to be able to see what's happening out in the real world in between segments. And I can't see the screen without putting on my handy dandy glasses.
Oh, for the love of God.
I know, because you just can't understand. You didn't have to live with the last time I wore glasses on air and the screenshots from that were circulating. It actually became a thumbnail on when you did searches. And
So what?
I know, it's because you know what? If something hurts your family, which it does, because it does impact my
How?
revenue stream.
Oh, yeah, it impacts revenue by you wearing glasses. I wear glasses every day.
You don't make your living on air. I'm sorry, Brock, but I'm not understanding how you don't understand this. Does Wendy wear glasses
Sometimes.
on air?
Yeah.
Does she? Well, she's probably got some like designer
She'll
glasses.
put readers and stuff on.
She doesn't have the ones that make my eyes look like
no.
huge. I've got magnifying glasses.
But you show them, but you really can't. If you're wearing them regular, yeah. If you
Again,
do that,
I'm going to find the image, okay, and I'm going to show you how much money I lost the last time. This has been
just
5
get a
years
glasses
now.
sponsor then. For a LASIK surgery.
You know, that's actually not an
nonsense.
awful idea.
I know it's not. I'm full of good ideas.
But I did lose. I lost viewership as a result. It really, I'm not kidding. It had an impact. Look at me. Do I look vain? Do I look like, oh my gosh, I got to do my hair? I throw on a cheap
We can
shirt.
tell. Okay, 5 seconds. Here we go.
Here we are. Is there an update? No, not an update. I was so excited, so pumped about having an update for you all. We're going to be doing these updates every half hour on the California race for the next 29 days, because that's how long it's going to take until we know definitively, until it's official. And even after that, I think that you still have to get it certified. Now, chances are, in reality, we probably are going to know at least for LA, we should know within the next few days. And for the state of California, for the governor's race, most of the races aren't very close, by the way. Some of them have already been called, as far as we already know who the two people are. And shockingly, I will admit, in some of the other races, the Republicans actually did pretty darn well, better than I would have expected. Which is why I've always said, even if it's going to be difficult for Steve Hilton to win, having him on the ticket is paramount. It is so important, because there will be fewer Republicans who vote in the general election if it's two Democrats going up against each other. That's just how it works. It's unfortunate. You know, I've always been a big fan of your local election is far more important than anything else. People always talk about, oh, it's a presidential election, or there's a lower turnout during midterms and stuff like that. To me, the most important elections are sheriff. Okay. Your sheriff is extremely important. District attorney, extremely important. City council, school board. These are the races that will impact you directly in your life far more than governor, or in many cases, even president of the United States. That's why it is unfortunate that we need somebody at the top of the ticket just to get the vote out. But hey, you know, I guess logically it sort of makes sense. So I can understand it. But if you know your stuff, you know your politics, you will realize that that is not always the case. Speaking of knowing your politics, I'm very hopeful that the GOP, the national GOP, and all the various GOP organizations understand their place, their role in what's coming. Because Spencer Pratt doesn't need them, doesn't want them. And if they do get involved in his race, they will hurt him. He is far better off not taking on the Republican tag. He's far better off not getting a whole bunch of Republican endorsements. I'm not talking about individual endorsements, okay? I'm talking about, like, he doesn't need the RNC to get involved, or even really the state, California State GOP, which, for those who aren't aware, the GOP organization in California is ridiculous. It is so bad. I mean, like, I'm embarrassed for them. I am ashamed of them. I used to go to their meetings, and at one point I'm at a barbecue in San Diego, right? And we're supposed to be having these meetings. They're rolling out these candidates, and they were talking about stuff, and I'm there with my wife, and it's at one point it's like, are you done with your barbecue? She's like, yeah. It's like, let's go. I mean, they're saying nothing. They're not saying anything. It's not conservative. It's not even really Republican. They're talking about dumb stuff. And it wasn't the first time I'd heard that dumb stuff. Thankfully, it was a really good barbecue joint. So we did have some good barbecue. It was awesome. Not the best. Good for California. We'll put it like that. California's got great food, by the way, especially Southern California. And there's some great food up in San Francisco area, the Bay Area as well. But barbecue, not so good. Steak, not so good. Seafood, Italian, great. Mexican, best. I've had Tex-Mex, Cali-Mex. I'll take Cali-Mex anytime. But not when it comes to barbecue. Anyway, sorry. You got me talking about food. Stop it. Yes, it was very embarrassing to even be part of that organization, and we never went back. It's been, a decade now. With that said, what's even more embarrassing is when you have legacy media calling you out. We played that clip before as far as CNN and those guys being idiots. NBC, to their credit, at least they got one thing right. They got something right about Karen Bass, and I don't know. I don't disagree. Clip 6.
Something that's driven me crazy about this race. When you look at the numbers, already right now, a majority of Los Angelinos are saying they want to fire Karen Bass. 50% of the voters that are up right now say they want somebody other than the incumbent to be the mayor. So the Spencer Pratt thing, to me, isn't even really about Spencer Pratt. It's a vote sink for people who are fed up with the way that that city's been run or fed up with the fire response. And if this were any other city outside of California where you'd had normal primaries, Karen Bass with those numbers would be toast.
She would be toast, and she still might be toast. Look, it's not a straight up, like, this isn't a Democrat versus Republican thing. Spencer Pratt, it's an us versus them thing. He's sitting at 30%. That means that at least half, if not more, of his voters are Democrats. At least half. And that's if there was a tremendous Republican turnout, which generally there's not. Because don't forget, this is Los Angeles, 19% Republicans. So if he got 30%, and let's say that it wasn't 19%, let's say about 12%, let's say we'll give it benefit of the doubt and say 12%. That means that 18%, the other 18%, over half of his voters were either independents or Democrats. It is an us versus them thing, which is why I go back to the notion that the best thing the Republican Party can do is to just stay out of it. Stay away from this race altogether. If they want to give them some money, they want to help to fund it, that's fine. But don't start sending out, whatever. We have an article over at conservativeplaylist.com. Somebody had sent me a note yesterday by going to jdrucker.com/talk, jdrucker.com/talk. And they sent me a note saying, hey, where are you getting your stories from? Because we want to follow along. Well, okay, great. This particular story is at one of my sites, conservativeplaylist.com. It's titled Spencer Pratt's Best Chance of Winning is to Keep GOP Organizations Out of It. It looks like he's finishing second. Okay. I think that he has enough of a gap there that even with mail-in ballots that he will still beat Nithya Raman. I think that's the case. I'm not so sure about Hilton, but I would say there's probably a 65-70% chance that despite Democrat attempts to steal the election, that he's going to come out and be in this election. So we'll say 70% chance. It is heavily Democrat, which means that he in your average race, you get a benefit by getting the state party to help. It's called the ground game, right? Like when you get these organizations that have ran many elections, they got their consultants, they got their groups, they got their email list, they got all sorts of assets they can use, and they can really start hammering home a Republican message. That works in over half the country. I would say, even in some purple states or even in some blue states, trying to rally the troops with a standard Republican makes total sense 95% of the time. Spencer Pratt is the other 5%. Spencer Pratt is the guy that you don't want any Republican attachment to him whatsoever. Not the state party, not state assets. Again, if they want to contribute quietly, help to fund him, that's a whole other story. And they can do that through dark money. They can do that through a lot of different means. But don't start, don't try to claim him. In other words, don't say, hey, Republican Spencer Pratt. No, he's just Spencer Pratt. He's just Spencer Pratt. He's an Angelino, not a Los Angelino like the NBC guy said, but you get the idea. He is there for the people. And that's his strength. That's the only chance he has of beating Karen Bass. Even as bad as Karen Bass is, you can see that she's going to end up probably close to, after mail-in balloting, she's probably going to be right there at about 40% of the vote. That's terrifying. Not because like, oh, wow, he can't beat her. It's terrifying that up to 40%, we'll call it realistically without cheating, we'll say 35%. Okay. So 35% of Angelinos voted for what they've witnessed the last 4 years, which is, in my humble opinion, the worst mayorship in modern history of a major city. The worst mayor in America today is Karen Bass. And over a third of the people whose lives she's helped to ruin, over a third of them voted for her. Now, there was some, those reporter on the street videos. You've seen them. They were going out and they were asking. There was one common theme, and it's unfortunate, but it is the reality. As far as why people were saying that they were going to be voting for Karen Bass, most of them, over 50% of them, again, this is anecdotal. You can't take this as gospel, but I would say the real reason is that most people are just ignorant and they're just like, yeah, I know Karen Bass, she's doing fine, whatever. It's just ignorance, right? But a lot of people voted for her because she's black. That's it. Spencer Pratt is white and Karen Bass is black, and they were going to vote for the minority no matter what. Don't forget, there's no D. You say, oh, they voted for her because she's a Democrat. No, because there's on the ballots, it doesn't actually show what their party affiliation is. So, they voted for her because the very little that they apparently know about her, they thought, I guess she's fine. She does okay. It's one thing to have people like, celebrities and Hollywood supporting her because they don't have to deal with her. They don't have, they can say, who was it? Who was it? Drew Carey. Drew Carey came out, attacked Spencer Pratt hardcore, saying, you got to vote for Karen Bass, not Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt's, bad. He said some really nasty things about him. And I'm looking them up, does he live in LA? Yeah, he does. He lives in a $37 million mansion, and he has armed security with him at all times. Well, yeah, I guess if you live in a $37 million gated mansion and you have armed security with you at all times, sure, you're probably okay with Karen Bass. But if you're a regular, everyday, average Angelino, then you're not. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something about what's coming. I want to prepare you for what's about to happen, assuming that Spencer Pratt does make it to this next round. He's going to do something. It's going to make some people mad, but I want you to understand that it's absolutely, positively necessary if he is going to win. He's going to start sounding a lot like a Democrat. As a matter of fact, he's going to hire a lot of Democrats for his staff. Okay, don't freak out. Part of the strategy, he has to do it. I hate the concept altogether, but I understand it. And I'll talk more about that after the break here on the Wendy Bell radio program. There. I'll do it for Brock. I'll keep my camera on as I read my tweets.
Don't do it for me.
Nope. Me.
See, I can't tell the difference, to be honest with you.
No, I'm wearing glasses. That's the difference.
Well, no, I mean,
you
said why someone would screenshot it.
To be fair, the other glasses that I had, these are reading glasses, and they're really not that bad. See, my vision, I am blind. Like, without my contacts, it starts to get blurry after 4 inches. Okay. And so, when I have to wear, and I have to do this for a show, my contacts bugged out. So I had to wear these are just reading glasses that I use for Twitter. But, the glasses that I wore before that, again, haunted me for a long time, and it did actually impact my lid. I was just like, I cannot believe this, because I'm not a vain person. I promise you, I'm not. But those glasses, like, if you could picture, those bottle cap. Have you ever seen Revenge of the Nerds?
Yes.
Poindexter's glasses. Do you remember Poindexter?
I do.
I look like Poindexter. Like, my eyes get physically bigger in the glasses because I'm so blind. It looks really freaky. And
How thick are their contacts?
Well, they're contacts. It doesn't matter. like
I can't
with contact. Well, with contact lenses, you're okay. Yes, these are very powerful contact lenses, but they're no different. They don't appear differently on screen than the other ones. But
do they make contacts with Progressive?
I have no idea. I only get conservative contacts. So
wow,
that's just me.
That was bad.
It was worse. It was worse. All right, I'm going to read my tweets.
I'm still not used to wearing glasses, to be honest with you. And thank you to the listener out there. When I had to first get glasses that were progressive, like where you can have the reading and the regular, like for far and close, I was getting headaches. And one of you guys out there said, give it a week and your eyes will get adjusted. And it was hard. It was hard to give it a week. But after about a week, you guys were right on. Multifocal contacts are available. See, my problem is I can't touch my eyes. Because as a kid, I used to get eyelashes in my eyes all the time. And my mom would dig them out with her fingernail. Oh, hated it. It's like trying to clip your dog's toes. Dog runs, moves. That was me.
I'll tell you the surprising one. Harvey Levin.
Oh, I saw that. But, I mean, he is who he is.
His team cheered the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Yes. Yes.
So
they said they didn't, but
they did.
We saw the video.
They did. They most certainly did.
Okay. Do this. Count to 5.
We are back and still no updates. I told you I'd be checking all the time. Let's hit refresh. We were at 63.1%. We are at 63.1%. Still no update. Oh, well. I won't be doing this tomorrow. Don't worry. Tomorrow, I promise, I won't be refreshing every break to see if there's any updates. I am excited about it because this really does represent a big change. Not just for the people of California, mind you. We've seen what happened in New York with Zohran Mamdani. We saw what happened with Katie Wilson. We've seen what the left is able to do, even when they're awful. Karen Bass, as an example, even when they're awful, it doesn't seem to make an impact. It doesn't give us hope that we can actually fix cities like LA or Chicago or Baltimore or Detroit, or even the quote unquote nice ones or the conservative ones like Dallas. Okay. Dallas is broken in many ways. The best thing going for Dallas is that it's not nearly as bad as any of the other major cities. It still has its own problems though. Okay. Then you go to other cities in Texas, they're not nearly as I guess you could say sane as Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Austin. Good golly. Don't get me started about Austin. Point I'm trying to get at is that this is symbolic. Spencer Pratt, like him or even if you dislike him, and I'm not sure, to be clear, I don't even know if I like the guy. Okay. I thought I did at first, but the more I listen to him, I'll admit, the more I listen to him, the more I think to myself, yeah, kind of. But then I remind myself, yeah, but Karen Bass. Okay, never mind. I love Spencer Pratt. Would I vote for Spencer Pratt over other, actual full-blown conservatives or Republicans? No, I probably wouldn't. I love his, but I'm going to support the heck out of him, including when he does something that a lot of you out there are going to be against, and that's to hire a whole bunch of Democrats. He's going to be hiring Democrats for his staff. He's going to be hiring Democrat consultants. He's going to be hanging out with a bunch of Democrats. Okay, he's going to find the next Bill Maher. Okay, Bill Maher has endorsed him. Not endorsed him, but shown support for him. He's going to do whatever he can to basically say he's the unifying person on the ticket. This is why he can win. If he didn't do that, if he's like, okay, all right, let's get in some Republican consultants and let's fill the staff with constitutional conservatives, he loses to Karen Bass. But if he goes in and says, I don't care about right versus left, I don't care about Democrat versus Republican, I don't care about national politics or anything that's going on over there. Y'all take care of that stuff. I want to fix Los Angeles for all Angelinos, regardless of their age, their skin color, their gender, their political affiliation, their religion, their wealth, their status. I want to help the homeless people who are drug addicts either get into treatment or get out of the city. I want to help the mothers that are struggling to not struggle. These are the messages that Spencer Pratt needs to get out there, and he's going to have to go and get him some Democrats to help out. You might be like, and again, I don't like it, but I also understand it. And I'm just asking if and when you start seeing this, because I can assure you there will be some conservatives, Republicans out there that are like, I don't know about this. Normally, I would be that guy too. I watch very closely. I mean, I'm the guy that was skeptical because President Trump picked Tulsi Gabbard. I'm like, she was a Democrat. She turned out to be great. But yeah, I normally I wouldn't like it, but this is a weird situation. And even if you don't live in Los Angeles, and even if you don't live in California, what Spencer Pratt's victory will represent is bigger than just the city, bigger than just the state. It will represent hope, a hope that a system that's stacked against the people can be, even in an exceptional situation, which is what this is. It might take an exceptional situation, but at least it was able to be broken in that exceptional situation. Here's the problem, and here's the risk. If nothing major happens, let's say the election goes through, nothing bad or horrible or great or awesome happens to either candidate. Let's say they just do their normal thing, Karen Bass versus Spencer Pratt, and then we get through to the election and Karen Bass wins. That's a backbreaker. That means that in the battle between us versus them, we're probably going to lose in places like California. We might still be able to win in Oklahoma or Utah or Florida or Texas. We're winning a lot of times. But it will demonstrate that even in the extreme situation of the worst mayor in America versus a nonpartisan fixer, guy that's got good ideas, even in that scenario, the establishment still won. The swamp still won. They beat us. We don't want that to happen. So pray for Spencer Pratt. Let's take a good, nice break. When we get back, I promise, I said I was going to do it before. I promise this time it's real. I'm not going to talk about California. I'm going to go somewhere else here on the Wendy Bell radio program.
So what's your prediction on them winning the House, Republicans winning the House and Senate?
There's no way to tell. Anyone who can tell you, or like right now here in June it's wide open. There's no way to tell. If you're asking what I think would happen if the election were tomorrow, I think
Yes.
the Republicans would retain both. I know that sounds crazy, but based upon the math in the Senate and based upon the sentiment in the House, the lack of good candidates for the Democrats, I think that even then it's not hypothetical, because you can't we can't even look at that hypothetical, because that's based upon sentiment that's not geared around pre-election time. In other words, we could say that things lean in that direction based upon today's Republicans versus today's Democrats. But if they knew that the election was going to be June 4th, we'll say, then they all would have been acting differently. So I'm not trying to dodge the question, to be clear. I'm just telling you that they're things are leaning towards Republicans as of right now. If the war were to continue for another 37, 38, 39 days, if the Strait of Hormuz doesn't open up and if certain things happen with certain companies, then the economy is going to hit such a very bad place as early as September or October, right before the election, in which case it will be a bloodbath. And yes, the Republicans will probably lose the House and the Senate. So there's a lot of scenarios, lots of in other words, my prediction for today is I don't know. And anybody who pretends that they know is probably retarded. But or at least they want you to not think that they're retarded. So they'll give you a prediction. Yeah. Sorry.
Fair enough.
It's June. We got 6 months, 5 months. Anything can happen. When I'll start making my predictions? In October.
November?
No, I don't. We'll get it. We'll have a good idea by October. So
Not August.
No, we won't be able to. We'll be able to tell more by August. I'm sure I'll be talking
my
about
next
general
thing-
election time there.
I will say this: you made me look smart yesterday.
Oh, well, thank you.
I was talking to
My
my
superpower.
I was talking to Kate, who's my wife, about Maine, and she was asking me about the Graham Plattner, and I told her that I says, I think, and I had Newsmax, wasn't Carl, it was the guy at Schmidt on, and she could hear it. She's like, "What's he talking about?" And I explained that, this guy's going to win. And she's like, "How?" I was like, "Because they're going to get behind him and he's going to win the primary, but he has up to the second week in July for them to for him to get out and them to install someone." And I'll tell you what, she's like, "Really?" And then all of a sudden in the background, you hear Rob Schmidt say, "I think the next day we have to look at is the second Monday in July, because if he's out by then, they can install anyone." She's like, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, she's like, "How did you know that?" I said, "I'm smart."
Doesn't everybody?
No, I actually paid attention. JD said it today on the show. She's like, "It almost sounds like Rob Schmidt's people were listening to your show."
My wife says that all the time. She gets so annoyed. I'm not going to say who, but she is very certain, like literally certain, not in a joking way, that there is a particular podcast where at least the staff, maybe not that particular podcaster, but the staff listens to my show because
I've watched a certain channel, and it's funny because we put our entire rundown out every day with clips, the amount of time, the time frames of the clips that we use, we'll edit them, and that the shows will use the exact same clips. The edited part, like we're all either on the same page or someone's paying for our rundown every day.
Nice.
Oh wow, someone gave $20. Miss Wendy Bell, but having JD guest host is next best thing. Love you as well, Brock. Well, thank you. You're available to WBR. Okay, here's a little something to help with the payroll. Thanks for all you guys do.
Thank you so much.
For Thank you. Not necessary, but appreciated. For all the people who say, why do you have sponsors or there's too many commercials? This is why we don't want, we appreciate when you guys support the show. We do. But we don't want you to have to pay for it, and that's why you have commercials. So you guys can listen for free. I don't want to give you half the show and then go, well, only if you're a Premier member, you can see the rest of the show. To me, I call that bait and switch, and other podcasters might not like that, but I call it bait and switch. Just me. Two hours gone already. Has it felt like 2 hours to you?
No, it never does. I'm gonna have to go blow my nose, and it's too late. So I'm gonna have to suck it up.
Oh, use your sleeve. Nobody's watching. Okay. I gotta do my radio thing real quick.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress.
People can yell at you.
So I am going to tell you that we have to Trump.
North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things.
We're living in a different world. 70% of Americans say Trump is doing what he promised to do.
And in this business, right is still right. Even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program. Filling in for Wendy Bell from Patriot TV, J.D. Rucker.
I don't know. They keep saying filling in. I think it's more along the line just a placeholder because Wendy Bell just cannot be replaced. All I'm here to do is just to make sure that we keep some of the people entertained some of the time, right? This is weird. The one thing that I really don't like, there's a lot of things I don't like about Fox News. The only redeeming quality about Fox News is that they are so much better, usually, than others in legacy media. They're usually better than NBC, CNN, MSNB now, whatever, all those. So that's the only thing. Is like they're the not as bad as the other guys, whatever. But the other thing that I don't like about I can list a lot, but is that they have autoplay on their dang website. So if I want to click on something and then read about it, well, I can't because it'll autoplay a video. There is apparently somebody got arrested, a tech CEO arrested for allegedly supplying equipment for Iran's nuclear and military programs. What? That sounds crazy. And I want to look into it, but I don't want it to play on the radio. So let me see if I can figure out a way around that. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, during the break, I said, oh, darn it. I should have gone and sneezed first before coming on. Maybe I'm coming up with something or coming down with something, I should say. It says, wow, apologies. This makes for awful radio. Very embarrassing. Wendy's never going to have me again. It says Jamshid Gomi from Newport Coast, California is charged with conspiracy to violate the International Emergency Economic Powers Act and the U.S. Department of Justice. He didn't violate them. That's what they announced on Wednesday. According to this, Comey allegedly procured sophisticated U.S. origin networking, security, and encryption equipment for Iranian customers, including the Iranian regime's nuclear and military establishment. Now, for those who didn't know, this morning, Iran, there's been going back and forth. We're on the verge of just a full-blown renewed war again, just to be clear. But in the meantime, there's these little skirmishes, just a little, attack here, attack there. They're fighting each other, and they hit Kuwait. They hit the airport in Kuwait, and it had to be shut down. At least one person dead. It was like 65 people injured, and now this is bad. I had told the audience, somebody had asked, I believe it was yesterday, I told them that I would be talking about Iran and the situation there. I'm not going to do it today because I've been trying to hold off for a little bit to try to, just, I guess, get a better view of what's happening, be better prepared to discuss it and see what the big picture is here. But that might have to come tomorrow because, folks, I don't see a way around it. I don't see a way for us to not go to war further than we already have. President Trump has talked about it. He was talked to the great, I think it was Miranda Devine, who I've had her on my show multiple times. She was interviewing President Trump, and she asked about the whole, did you really say drop F-bombs with Netanyahu? And he's like, yeah, I did. Let's play clip 7.
Which you were angry with him. You said, are you effing crazy? What are you effing doing? I helped you stay out of jail. Is that true? Did you speak to him in those terms?
I did. I wouldn't say angry. I was a little bit perturbed at his constantly fighting with Lebanon. At some point I said, Bibi, we got to stop this. We got to stop it. But I have a very good relationship. We've done well together. He always says, we could never have done it, but everybody knows that we could have never done it without the United States. But I've worked very well together. I like Bibi a lot, and I've worked very well with him. We had I'm a wartime president. He's a wartime prime minister, very important part of the world. And I think we've done, very well. We've gotten along very well together.
He is a wartime president. And yes, Netanyahu is a wartime prime minister, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people are saying, and I'm not going to weigh in on this one yet tonight. We'll do that tomorrow. I'm not going to weigh in on my perspective here, but a lot of people are saying that the whole reason for the war is to keep him out of jail, right? They think that he thinks that he's going to go to jail as soon as the war's over, or he'll be booted out of power. Bennett's going to come in, whatever. It's a mess. It's complicated, but I would stand by President Trump's, I don't know if you want to call it an attack, but his scolding that he just acknowledged, this scolding of Netanyahu, telling him, look, this is one of the most poignant things that he said, allegedly. Well, now we know it's confirmed, is he told him, this is why the world hates you. And he's referring to attacking Beirut. Now, again, I can argue very clearly that, and I will do this tomorrow, argue how Israel is not unjustified with many of their actions. But that doesn't mean they're justified with all of their actions. I'm going to leave it there because talk about a rabbit hole. The ultimate rabbit hole, especially for conservatives. We've been seeing a lot more of this here in 2026. The so-called civil war, right, between we call them the woke right, and they call them the old right, and it's the boomer conservatives versus the millennial and Gen and Z conservatives or whatever. It's the Gen Xers and that's right. It's the Gen Xers and the boomers. the people that wouldn't vote for Thomas Massie, they say, versus the Gen Z and the millennial conservatives who would support like a Tom Massie. Who they're listening to Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens and Tucker and whatever, Megyn Kelly. There's this alleged civil war. And it always comes back to Israel. 100% of it. 100% of the debate, the argument always comes back to Israel. And I already can see. I'm just staring at a camera, talking into a microphone, and I can feel the audience's blood pressure rising. And regardless of which side you're on, I don't understand why that makes people's blood pressure rise. I seriously don't. I mean, again, on either side, I don't think about Israel very much at all. Positive, negative, I'm sort of just like American. Am I more concerned about the risks of Islam or the economy or whatever? Yes. I mean, Israel, it's almost like climate change, right? The people that are super passionate about climate change, they're obsessed with it. And that's how I feel. Or not how I feel. I'll talk about that tomorrow. But that's how it seems as if a lot of people, even on the right, feel about Israel today. This is going to be a fun show. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. I haven't talked about this. This is great. This is going to be fun. Friday, we're going to be talking about aliens. They got this Disclosure Day movie coming out. You got a lot of people talking about stuff. Everybody's been asking me, for some reason, I don't know, do I look alien? Don't answer that. But I have done quite a bit of research on it. My wife has been wanting to do an episode with me. We used to do episodes together all the time. She's much better than I am. She's gorgeous, number one. Number two, she's very passionate and smart about a lot of things that I'm not. And so we make a great team. But, when you got 4 kids and, it gets a little bit harder. I don't know. Maybe I'll get her to come on Friday. We'll see. But so we know tomorrow's show, for sure, we're going to be talking at least a little bit about Israel. Friday, for sure, we're going to be talking a little bit about aliens. As far as for today's show, here in about, 4 or 5 minutes or so, we will be talking about more President Trump quotes. We'll be talking about Al-Qaeda. Talking about a lot of stuff. I can't believe this show goes by so fast. 3 hours. Piece of cake right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. I can't believe I sneezed 3 times on air. I've never done that in my life. This is what Brock gets for not letting me turn off my
radio
cameras.
people didn't hear it.
By the way, that's the other thing that I do. Like when I turn off my camera, it's because it's true. Like this is radio. I'm not wearing pants, and now if I have to get up, I've shown this to you before. Like if I have to go blow my nose, which I do almost every break, I turn the camera off to do it.
Well, the radio people didn't hear you sneeze.
How did they not hear me sneeze?
I turned your mic off.
Oh, how neat!
This is kind of boring to me to explain this, like to think about it. Like from what you guys see,
I don't want to bore you.
Is all computer related. What you guys don't see is the huge board I have in front of me that's just for radio. So I can shut his mic off here, but not shut his mic off quick enough on the computer for him to sneeze. So it's 2 completely different entities. That's why I say they didn't hear you on the radio, because I saw you go like this and knew just to cut your mic. Now they all heard you.
Yeah, they did. They're making fun of me. It's his fault. He did it.
Mine?
Yeah,
I
by
get
not
blamed
letting
for
me turn my
everything
camera
else.
off. It stresses you for me to turn my camera off.
Well, turn your camera off then.
Well, no,
Just
it's too
as
late. I've
just
already
as
sneezed
long
on
as
air
I know it works. Although I did forget to send you the link to the show today, so I can't.
Have I ever gone on air without being on camera?
No.
And we've done this. What now? I've turned my camera off at least 35 times in the last 3 days.
See, here's the thing. I can't control your camera. If you turn it off, I can't turn it back on.
Okay.
If you would forget, I can't turn it back on. So I can't talk to you during the show.
You really are a control freak, aren't you?
I am.
You're totally a control guy. All right. Well, the funny part is we're about to come back on air, aren't we? And I still have to blow my nose again. So we're going to have to go straight into...
No, we got a minute 37.
I don't have time.
I'll mute your mic, you mute your camera, and blow your nose.
No, I have to get up to do it. You realize
Okay, take your camera off and go blow your nose. You have a minute and 24 seconds.
Okay. I trust you.
Okay. There, I will mute his mic also so he can go blow his nose in privacy. See, that's the difference between a lot of people. Wendy does not care that you guys see her put makeup on. The Sunday show where you guys see her without makeup, she does not. She foosters with her hair. She does not care that. And you guys have screenshotted her enough times with the crazy hair and the crazy freeze frames. Let's see how quick he is. There you go. Oh, good. See, Wendy does all that stuff on camera.
She blows her nose on camera.
She'll do yeah, she don't care. All right. Count to 5.
Oh my gosh, it's been such a nice day out here in California, looking at all the things that are happening. And yet we look over in the Middle East and we realize that things are not necessarily as good for them as they are for us. But there is hope. We haven't talked much about President Trump today. We did the clip earlier. But there's another clip where he's actually asked a question that apparently he'd never been asked, and it's kind of surprising. I'm glad that somebody asked it. In this case, it's Miranda Devine again. Go ahead and play clip 8.
So who's making the decisions?
Well, they say he is giving approval because that's the way it has been for a long, long time. His father and then him, I guess it's a succession. But we seem to be getting along quite well.
Would you like to meet him or meet any of the Iranians in person?
I've never thought of it, actually. It's a very good question. I'll think of it. Yeah, I'd like to meet him. I like to meet everybody. I'd like to meet him. We probably will meet at some point, depending on how it all works out.
Yeah, that's a good question. Nobody's ever thought about that. Maybe I should meet him. You know what? Let's set it up. We'll make it a play date. Now, the part that you didn't hear is what she actually asked him. The question about him, she referred to him as the gay Ayatollah, which I thought it wasn't funny, the question. It's just a standard question. But it was just President Trump's like, yeah. It's like, okay, well, there we go. Of course, he thinks that the James Tallarico may be transgender, and he may not be wrong. He may not be wrong, but we have those challenges over there in the Middle East. We don't have them. They have them over there, but we are starting to get them over here too. Now, we've all heard, I think, hopefully you've heard of many of the challenges that they're having down, especially in places like Texas. They're going after Texas for reasons. The Democrats are going after Texas. The globalists are going after Texas. And yes, the Islamicists, I think, is the best term to use. It's not it's like, oh, the Muslims. Look, somebody wants to be a Muslim, that's great. Whatever. I'll talk to them about my faith. They can talk to me about their faith. Great. No problem with Muslims. But those who are trying to convert this nation, okay, into embracing Sharia law, those who are trying to create safe spaces or no-go zones for themselves where they're allowed stuff and we're not allowed stuff, or we can't even go there. Well, that shouldn't be happening in the United States, and it definitely shouldn't be happening in Texas. But we're seeing a lot of these challenges with Islamicists, and it's not just about Epic City in Texas. It's not just about Minneapolis or Michigan or Dearborn. It's spreading across the nation from a political perspective. We have a story over at, let's see, this is at Breitbart. Democrat who worked with Al-Qaeda-linked group wins New Jersey's primary to replace Representative Bonnie Watson-Coleman. Now you'd think, okay, is it a Islam thing? No big deal, right? There's going to be some, just like there's going to be some Jews, some Hindus, some atheists, some whatever, right? But this guy goes beyond just, oh, don't worry, he's just a Muslim. No, he has links to Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda. Has it been that short of a time, or has it been so long that we don't remember who Al-Qaeda was, what they did? According to this, Adam Hamawi won the New Jersey Democrat primary for retiring Rep. Bonnie Watson-Coleman's House seat. He's endorsed by the squad, of course. He drew fire because of his strong criticism of Israel. He's one of those, River to the Sea guys? Yeah. He's an Iraqi war vet. Oh, before you ask, no, he didn't fight on the other side. But he's known for saving Tammy Duckworth after her helicopter crash. He was a volunteer in Gaza. I mean, this guy has certain credentials. And I've got no problem with that. Again, this isn't about somebody's religion. But if you're tied to a group that is opposed to my existence, well, I'm going to have a problem with that. A 1994 internship with the Benevolence International Foundation in Bosnia is where the scrutiny begins. And you're thinking, okay, well, that's been, over 3 decades ago. I don't know. I don't know if there's a time limit to when, he was working with terrorists before, but now it's okay. He was never charged, to be clear, but he has been scrutinized. Not saying that he's a terrorist. I'm just saying that maybe with certain people rising in politics, especially Democrats, maybe we should take a closer look. He allegedly has associations with the quote-unquote blind sheik, if you're familiar with him, and ties to foundations like Savek Katovic. I have no idea what that is. I'll admit it. Sometimes I'm smart enough to know what this stuff is. That one, I'm going to have to look that up. Thankfully, we have plenty of places to look that stuff up on. What a world. What a world. When we come back, we're going to get out of politics just for a very little bit, and then we're going to close with even more politics here on the Wendy Bell radio program. Okay. I am going to try to get this fixed.
Okay,
this is ridiculous. Say again? Did you say you're running to the bathroom?
Yeah. I am wearing pants, but, All right, I'll be back.
Oh, how funny is that? I guess I'm going to have to blow my nose in front of everybody. Oh, goodness gracious. See, and I'm also the challenge. Maybe I'm not as I'm also a hand washer. I like to wash my hands every time I sneeze. And being stuck, thank you. Being stuck here because I can't turn my camera off. Okay. My goodness. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's Pantera asks, is it dust or pollen? I think so, because I'm not sick. I don't think I'm sick. I don't think, maybe I'm just allergic to Democrats. That's what they're saying. Yeah, that's got to be it. Are there Democrats outside? I have a filter, but I can't turn it on during the show. Oh my gosh, no. It's not what is that? Something gal, alpha gal. Somebody's asking if I had, maybe it's I need allergy meds, and maybe I've got an allergy to meat. Gosh, God forbid. I don't know how I could go on if I ever got that stuff. Let's see. Yep, I'm allergic. I'm allergic to Brock. Well, he does. I mean, he really does have this thing where it's like, oh my gosh, your camera's off. It's like, dude, I've been doing this for 2 decades, and I've never missed my camera cue one time. And it's like the first time it's going to happen is going to be, you can't have your camera off. It's, whatever. Sometimes on a 3-hour show, yes, I want to turn the camera off. That's all. It's not a big deal. Plus, I'm having to use these. These aren't even. I'm gonna have to replace these.
What?
I am a germaphobe. I've been sneezing this entire time.
Then
on air.
You need to go to disinfectwithsniper.com.
No, I just need to wash my hands. I hate not being
Well,
able to wash
with
my
Sniper, you can put it on your hands.
Nah, that stuff. Nope. I don't use
Safe for pets, kids.
I'm a scrubber. I like to scrub with super hot water, and I like cleanliness. That's all. This is why
you don't need to tell them. It's disinfectwithsniper.com.
Yes, disinfectwithsniper.com. Good for the vast majority of Americans.
You can go clean your hands if you want.
No, then I'll have to turn off the camera, and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, the camera's off."
That's okay. I can tell them about Morgane's Fitness.
Oh, there you go.
See, there you go. Morganesfitness.com. She's having a merch sale right now, and you can check her out, morganesfitness.com. And the 90-day night program, get yourself in shape. You can get, she'll help you find your abs. She says she can build a butt. I've asked. And she's just a badass. And like I said, she's a huge supporter of the show, and we appreciate that. But go to morganesfitness.com. If you live in southwestern Pennsylvania, Cambria County, that's the gym to go to. Conservative. I'm not going to judge you. You're all there for the same reason, to get healthy and stay healthy. But check out morganesfitness.com. Check out the 90-day Ignite, where she's doing it now because of COVID. She pivoted, and she's doing a lot of things online, including the online merch sale. So go to morganesfitness.com, and check out her stuff. Wendy loves her gym apparel. I will say that. She loves her gym clothes. She says they're really comfortable to work out in. I wouldn't know. So I don't know if JD's there or not. Now, Kelly just sent me a text. You have to do what I say to build an ass. See? I'm telling you, she says she can build an ass.
Oh my gosh, did I come back at the wrong time? Did we just switch to the OnlyFans channel?
Yeah, Brock does not have an OnlyFans channel. Oh, we wouldn't know if you're back because your camera's off. But,
I know my camera's off. I was telling everybody that I've been doing podcasts, television since 2008. And in those thousands of shows, I've never once in my entire life missed a camera cue.
All right, well, 10 seconds. Let's see if you miss it this time.
10 seconds? What are you talking about?
We're back. You'll count to 5.
I really love doing these shows, not for any other reason, but because it does give me an opportunity to dive into certain types of stories that on my regular show, which is much shorter, I couldn't get into. One of those is a story that I guess the easiest way to put it is it's proof that I don't just sit here and go rah, rah, rah all the time for the home team, but it does need to be said. We have this story posted over at economiccollapse.report. It's not .com, it's .report. Economiccollapse.report. Top bellwether CEOs brace for a downturn as the survey drops 12 points in a single quarter. The survey is, I think I've expressed many times, at least on my show, and I think at least a few times on Wendy's show, that I'm not a big fan of polls. These aren't polls. This is the conference board's measure of CEO confidence. This is an actual legitimate survey that has an impact. They pick the right people. They pick the right CEOs. They ask the right questions. And over the years, I've been able to use this to say, okay, cool. Doesn't matter what Kramer's saying or what CNBC's saying or even what Fox Business is saying or Krugman or any of these guys. If these bellwether CEOs are saying that things are okay, things are okay. Okay? And they're always right. Well, in this case, they're saying things aren't okay. I'm laughing, but they're legitimately concerned. Between quarter Q1 and Q2, their confidence level dropped from 59% confident down to 47%. That's a 12-point drop. That's huge, folks. Okay, for one quarter, for it to drop 12 points, that's usually when something big happens. And the only thing big that's happened, obviously, is the Iran war. And we keep saying it's the Iran war, but it really is the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. The war itself hasn't had much of an impact, and it would not normally have much of an impact on our economy. It's the closing of the Strait of Hormuz that is having this impact. And, we've seen it in the stock market. As far as it goes up, goes down, goes up. We've seen it with oil prices. We've seen it with our own consumer prices for gas, for food, for day-to-day living expenses. And this one is, in my humble opinion, very concerning. But there's a worse stat than just the 12% drop. 15%, only 15%, say that the economy is better today than 6 months ago, which is down from 39% before. But 47% say that it's worse. Now, you might say, okay, well, that's still less than half, but I want you to understand that last quarter, same people, same survey, same questions, only 8%. 8% thought that the economy was worse and heading in the worst direction. Now it's up to 47%. Not good. 40% expect further deterioration over the next 6 months. What was it last quarter? 13% saw a 6-month deterioration. I'm not trying to be a fear monger here. I'm not trying to say, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. The economy is doomed. No, by no means am I saying anything like that. But I would argue that this is an indicator that this isn't one of those temporary, oh, it's just a little blip. I said earlier that from an election perspective, that we have approximately 38 days from today to get the war ended. And again, it's not even necessarily the war itself ending. It's to get the Strait of Hormuz fully, properly open. It doesn't have to be completely open as in like, oh, back to normal. It just had the process to open it has to begin. The sentiment across the globe has to be, okay, there's hope. There's real hope. It's not a temporary drop, or temporary opening. It's not a trickling. It's not a bottleneck. It's not a handful of ships. There's a true path forward for us to expect that economically, the global economic scenario is going to get better. Got about, again, 30, 37, 38, 39 days. And the reason I use that number, well, I'm not going to explain that. It's the right number. Just take my word for it. And again, that's from an election perspective. That's not about the global economy. That's about how do we make it to where at that point, if things work, then it should help Republicans because it'll be the curve upward for the economy right on time, 2 weeks, a week to 2 weeks ahead of election day. That's really, in 3 weeks, we'll call it. It has to be sooner than that because, again, with mail-in voting, we want it sooner, but you don't necessarily want it too soon because there's going to be, once the economy starts going up, it's going to take a little bit of a dip. That's just natural. So you can read the rest of the story over at economiccollapse.report. Oh, one more thing. The jobs angle, 31% of CEOs expect to shrink their workforce versus 28% who choose to expand it. Now you might say 31 versus 28. That's not bad. That's okay. And it really is okay from a jobs perspective. Where it's not okay is that these guys are heading in different directions mentally. Some are thinking shrink, some are thinking grow. And when I say that's not good, it's not an alarm bell. It's not even a concern from an economic perspective. What it is it's a peculiarity. It's a semi-enigma. It's just something to note. Take that, file it away, and see what that actually means. Because when I look at from an economic perspective, when I look at things, I don't really care about the stock market. I hate to say that because I know a lot of people do. I don't. I look at it from jobs and expenses. Okay. Jobs, revenue and expenses. The simple stuff. Are people able to work if they want to work? Yes. Are the costs of living rising faster than the revenue through which we can live? That's it. I keep it very simple when I'm gauging, an economy, which I'm not an economist, to be clear. I have played one on television, just not lately. See, that's the kind of stuff that you don't normally get to on a regular show. It's important. I geek out on this stuff. And so I enjoy talking about it, but unless you're Kramer or Krugman, you're not going to have a popular show talking about this stuff. But you can talk about redistricting. This is a great one. Do I have enough time? I do. This is a great one. This is something that I definitely was hopeful about. I had some concerns, but we're in good shape. The U.S. Supreme Court has approved for the second time the Alabama redistricting map. We have this story over at discernreport.com. The U.S. Supreme Court allowed Alabama to proceed with an altered congressional map. They affirmed a 2023 map that alters 4 districts and favors Republicans. This follows, of course, the Louisiana ruling, which weakened Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. At least that's what they claim, regarding majority-minority districts. Something that people have to understand when it comes to redistricting, when it comes to gerrymandering. There are certain things that are illegal and certain things that are not. Obviously, the Supreme Court has made it clear that you cannot redistrict based upon race. That sort of makes a whole lot of sense. But there's another thing that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's still constitutionally legal, according to the Supreme Court, I believe, in 2014. And that is, you can redistrict I think it was actually, I'm sorry, 2019, I think it was. You can redistrict based upon politics. Did you know that? Perfectly legal. Perfectly constitutional, according to the previous Supreme Court ruling. If you are trying to redistrict so that you've got Illinois being all Democrat or Texas or Alabama being all Republican, as long as you're not using race to determine it, it's legal. Now, I've been a big, huge proponent for a long time of a complete and total redistricting. The only way that you could do that is if every state agreed. And when I say every state, it doesn't have to be like all 50 states or 57 if you're Barack Obama. You guys remember that? That was so hilarious. Anyway, it doesn't have to be all 50 states, but you have to have a good chunk of them, most of them, that would agree to allow a fully nonpartisan, common sense redistricting that's based on population and proper geographic boundaries. Okay, that's it. Forget about the gerrymandering. Forget about making these odd-shaped, weird districts. Just, okay, you got a city? Great. That city's got, we'll say, 250,000 people. That's one congressional seat. Great. Oh, no, you got another one, another city that's got a lot more people. We'll say 1 million. It's going to be either 3 or 4 districts, okay? And let's just cut it into thirds. Let's find the appropriate geographic split. And I would say just redistrict the entire nation. Make it based solely on what makes common sense from a nonpartisan perspective. Take race out of the equation, take all that out of the equation. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, how could you do that? How could you do that nonpartisan? The only way that you could do it, and the only reason that it would actually possibly work today where it couldn't have worked even 2 or 3 years ago, is something that I hate talking about. I love talking about it. I hate talking about it in the positive. And yes, it's artificial intelligence. This is one of those cases. Look, when it comes to AI, there's certain things that I absolutely despise, that concern me. We've talked about that this week. But there are other things where it's like, you know what? It makes sense. If you got a bipartisan commission to sit there and explain all the criteria, give them access to all the maps, and this bipartisan, nonpartisan, I shouldn't say bipartisan, nonpartisan group trains an AI to go look at everything and make the most fair district maps possible, and let it pick out and then you take it, you look at it, you say, okay, so most of this is great, some of it's wrong, some of it doesn't make any sense. Why did you do this? And then it explains, and no, don't do it like that. Okay, and then you fix it, and you have perfect maps. Then the reason we would want to do that, by the way, to be clear, is because the bad part, the negative part about gerrymandering, is that one vote does not always equal one vote. Not the way that things are situated today. And to me, that's got to be fixed. We'll close up with some good news coming up next on the Wendy Bell radio program.
He doesn't realize we could hear that.
I realized it just fine. You said that.
Oh, okay. I muted you for a second, so
I was on radio.
No.
You hold on. You said that the audience, they're like okay with all of it. Like Wendy Bell blows her nose on the radio all the time. Or
no, on the stream. On the
was
stream.
I on the stream still?
Yeah.
You mean wait?
You didn't give me a chance. So radio.
I'm lost.
Once you say on the Wendy Bell radio show network program, you're off the radio. Right?
Yeah.
But they can you're still live on the stream.
Well, I
so I didn't have time to
You said that Wendy Bell loves it when she loves blowing your nose on the stream.
Well, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
So I
So
never.
why do you mute her?
No.
Okay.
I muted
You
you
don't have to mute
because
me.
you're all self-conscious about blowing your nose and
Oh, I'm not
glasses and
self-conscious about any of this stuff. My gosh, Brock. Yeah, I think you're self-conscious about being a control freak.
I'm willing to admit it. It's the first step.
See, no, camera's off. We're not talking anymore.
First step is admitting your weaknesses, and that is a weakness of mine. But you kind of have to be in my position.
You're a producer. You should have total control. That's not a weakness at all.
Well,
you think it's a weakness that I don't like to blow my nose in front of thousands of people, which I think is retarded, but that's you do you. You know, you're like, well, but Wendy Bell does it like this, and Wendy Bell does it like this. So everybody else, if anybody doesn't like to blow their nose in front of thousands,
I'm just saying she does. I'm just saying she does.
You're making
That's
fun
all.
of me for doing it. You're telling me that I'm self-conscious because I don't want to blow my nose in front of people. I don't like blowing my nose in front of my wife. Okay, I happen to have an extraordinarily loud nose blowing.
I know, we heard.
Thing. So I mean, look, I'm not self-conscious. It's the strangest. It's weird. I'm gonna go fart on. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fart on air and prove to you that I'm not self-conscious. Taking my shirt off now.
Oh, okay. We agree. You're not self-conscious.
Here we go.
No,
going naked.
We agree. You're all welcome.
Oh, always got the audience in mind. Girls are usually smarter, by the way. Rosebud is
What's
correct.
that?
Girls are usually smarter.
About what?
I don't know. I just saw those words. So I'm okay with that. And Daniel, you are correct. I would laugh as well.
At what?
I can't say on air.
Oh.
Man Boob Wednesday.
Wow.
Doc
Moob, as I like to call them, boobs.
Moobs?
Yeah, man boobs. Daniel never trust a fart over 30.
My farts are much.
Oh,
of that.
That's funny.
I do not allow them to mature.
I was 40. I think that's any age. Let's be serious about that. All right. Here we go.
Last segment here on today's episode of the Wendy Bell Radio program. Again, if you guys missed it, tomorrow we'll be talking about whatever is in the news at the time, but we are definitely going to be talking about the MAGA Civil War, the challenges with Israel, the whatever, the various Shapiro versus Tucker, or Candace versus everybody, or whatever. What are the other ones? Megyn Kelly versus Mark Levin. There we go. We'll be talking about all that stuff. And then on Friday, we'll be talking about whatever's in the news, plus aliens. It's the aliens, man. It's always the aliens. Now, we got Disclosure Days coming out, I guess, a week from Friday-ish, I think, sometime. This new Steven Spielberg movie. Glenn Beck has been doing a great job talking about it, giving his perspectives. I agree with about 95% of it. I've heard some other people talking about it, talking about the movie, talking about the timing, talking about the various drops. Was that just a weather balloon that got blown up in the last Pentagon drop? There's lots to talk about there. And we'll be talking about that here on the Wendy Bell radio program. You can always, again, follow me, and we will be doing this show. We're going to take what I'm doing this week, using that as a building block to craft. I've been talking to Brock, the producer, about trying to craft some sort of show relationship with the JD Rucker Show and the Wendy Bell radio program, because I love the audience here. I love you all. And I love doing these longer. For the longest time, I was doing this short, 4 minutes here, 6 minutes there. It just doesn't suit me. If you couldn't tell, I'm a bit verbose. Yeah, that happened. But I do want to get to, before we leave for the day, I want to get to some good news. We've had some, I've been on and off about California. We'll do one last check. Hold on. One last check, see if they've updated. We're at 60. I think they actually did update. Holy crap. Let me look. Well, they sort of updated. They changed the expected total, but they didn't actually change the vote totals, at least not for the governor's race. What about for the mayor's race? No, still. So again, they changed the percentage of votes, but they actually haven't added any new votes to the list. That's funny. And again, for those who missed it, California's election system is broken by design. But I don't want to talk about this. Let's talk about some good news. We're talking about the Alabama map before the break. We've had something that I think a lot of people, President Trump, those who loved President Trump, might think this is a bad thing, but I don't. Ashley Hinson won the GOP Senate nomination for Joni Ernst's spot. She'll be facing Josh Turek. That's good. The one that's important here is that Republican Zach Lon something won the nomination for governor. Now, the reason that's important is because for the first time in this election cycle, President Trump embraced or endorsed somebody who lost. In this case, Representative Randy Feenstra, who he was endorsed by President Trump just before. Not a big deal, right? It was a very late endorsement, but it did come, and President Trump lost. Why do why is that good news? It's good news. Number one, because perfection's no good. There's only one perfection. That's God. God Almighty is perfect. When men strive, we can strive for perfection, but when we think we achieve it, we don't. Number two, this is a demonstration that President Trump didn't just pick the winner, because that's been the accusation, right? The accusation has been like, oh, he waits until he knows who's going to win, and then he endorses that person. Okay, that's how it works. No, it was pretty clear that Feenstra was going to lose. President Trump endorsed him anyway because he thought he was the right person for the job. Now, Lon was endorsed by basically the Maha movement. That's one of the reasons that he won. But I consider that to be good news. I don't know about you guys. You might think, oh, it's got to be a win-win every time. I look at it, I want things to be realistic. I like it. The other thing that seems like it's bad news, but it really isn't, is the fact that the Department of Justice has officially announced through Acting AG Todd Blanche that the anti-weaponization fund is officially over. That they're not going to do it. And that seems to be a loss for President Trump again. But in this particular case, I think that it's a huge win for America. Not because I agreed I wanted the weaponization fund. But the Republicans, the rhinos, they've been fighting it. They've been fighting it from the beginning. And giving them this little win, to me, is President Trump and the administration setting them up to be bigger in the near future. I will definitely talk more about that tomorrow. Thank you all. God bless you. Thank you for listening to JD Ruck on the Wendy Bell radio program. Lord willing, I will be back very soon with another episode. But in the meantime, you all stay strong, stay safe, and God bless.